AFC West. KC tied atop with Seattle as the Seahawks take on the Jets today. Oakland trying to finish off the year at 500. Hi, everybody, and Happy New Year. Ian Eagle along with Mark May. This is as cut and dry as it gets. Kansas City needs a win, and they get into the playoffs as either the division champion or as a wild card. For Oakland, Raiders have had their problems with Kansas City throughout the 90s.
This is the way it should be if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. Earn your way into the playoffs. Winning, you're in. Losing, you're out. But for the Oakland Raiders, life will be sweeter in the offseason if they could knock off their rival, the Kansas City Chiefs. As
always, a great atmosphere here in Kansas City. A packed house for Gunther Cunningham and the Chiefs. We've got it for you coming up after this word from your local station. Fittingly, they meet on the first Sunday of the new millennium. The Kansas City Chiefs have rallied in the late stages of the season, winning 4 of their last 5 to climb to the top of the AFC West. Now they must run over their nemesis, the Oakland Raiders, if they are to complete the journey. A playoff berth for the Chiefs is on the line. This is the NFL on CBS today from Kansas City. The Raiders, the Chiefs, the kickoff is next. CBS crew on hand in Kansas City, Arrowhead Stadium. Just about 79,000 fans on hand to see the Raiders and the Chiefs at Oakland trying to win at KC for the first time since 1988. John Gruden looking for his first win against the Chiefs. A mark of 0-3 against Kansas City in his second year as the head coach of the Raiders. 8-8 last year, 7-8 this season. Gunther Cunningham, the most wins of any first-year head coach in Chiefs history. And Oakland has won the toss. They will receive it. We are underway from KC. Napoleon Kaufman trips down as he crosses the 10, getting across the 20, and Kaufman remaining on his feet down the sideline and out around the 32-yard line. A pickup of 26 on the return.
And that's been a problem for the Kansas City Chiefs right off the bat. They haven't been able to get deep kickoffs and good coverage on their kickoffs, and they're always giving up field position right off the bat.
Well, the Kansas City Chiefs will try to beat their former teammate, Rich Gannon, to go to the playoffs. And how about that ovation he got when his name was announced to the crowd? Couldn't even believe he's wearing a silver and black uniform to get that kind of rise from this Arrowhead Stadium crowd. On a 1st and 10 from the 32. First play from scrimmage. Motion man is Tim Brown. Play action. Gannon will throw it. Plenty of time. Slings one across to Brown, who makes the catch out to the 40-yard line for a pickup of 7. And Donnie Edwards makes the stop defensively for KC. Look at the Oakland offense and the problems right now at tackle. Barry Sims steps in for Mo Collins, out with a knee injury. And Darrell Ashmore, a journeyman, steps in for Lincoln Kennedy, who misses his first NFL game with a calf injury. Backs and receivers. The running game was held in check last week, and that lost to San Diego. It is the top-ranked running attack in the NFL. On a 2nd and 2, Brown in motion. Kaufman to the backfield. He'll get the call and quickly bottled up. Dan Williams met him, and Kaufman went down in a heap. Defensively for Kansas City, out front, Leslie O'Neal is now just 1 sack shy of passing Lawrence Taylor on the all-time list for 6th. Williams, McLaughlin, and Hicks, Donnie Edwards, Patton, and Thomas, the linebackers, and in the secondary, Chris Dishman had a dream day against Oakland in the first matchup. Kansas City and that come-from-behind win on the West Coast. In the backfield, Ritchie and Crockett, 2 tight end set on a 3rd and 4. Kansas City pointing figures, and this play never happens as Gannon is forced to take a timeout. Some confusion.
Major confusion on the offense, and this is what playing in a hostile environment's all about. Keeping your composure if you're the other team. And the Oakland Raiders haven't been able to keep their composure offensively.
So we'll step aside. Oakland on its first drive of the day, early in the first quarter. Offensive line as a visitor in this stadium, never easy.
Keep your eye right there on Daryl Ashman. You're going to see a lot of this today. This should be a false start. Once you're set, you can't move. He moved right there, flinched. That should be a penalty on the offense of the Oakland Raiders.
No penalty, though. Gannon took the timeout early here in the first, and now they face a 3rd and 4. Brown in motion. Gannon in the pocket. Lost the football. Leslie O'Neal came firing in, the entire defensive line, including McLaughlin. And the Raiders will be forced to punt. Incomplete pass is the call.
And I ain't a lot of this. At the top of the screen, watch Leslie O'Neal one-on-one with Barry Sims. Just give him a swim move to the outside. Comes across the top. Tomahawk over the top on Gannon. But right here, you cannot leave a backup tackle in a situation like this without help. Barry Sims one-on-one with Leslie O'Neal. That'll be a key matchup the entire afternoon.
Leo Aragus to punt it away. Tamarick Vanover is waiting. Backpedals. From the 16, Vanover has a lane. Tamarick Vanover has the kicker to beat. Vanover is gone. Touchdown, Kansas City. "84 yards on the return, and a sea of red on their feet."
And this is just hitting it and getting it by Tamarick Vanover. Gunther Cunningham told him this week in practice, tell everybody in front of you, your blockers, to lay down, because I'm going to take the ball and I'm going to run it right up the gut. That's exactly what Tamarick Vanover does. He doesn't hesitate. He takes the ball, hits it right in the middle of the field, makes a quick move. He's gone down the field, and all he has is the punter to beat. He's gone for the touchdown. One-on-one in the open field, the punter's not going to catch him.
Pete Stoyanovich adds the extra point. Kansas City hasn't even run an offensive play yet. But they do have a 7-0 lead against Oakland.
Sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. NASDAQ, the stock market for a digital world. And by Budweiser, delivered fresh daily from our local brewery near you.
What a start for Kansas City in a must-win situation. The Chiefs with a 7-0 lead. And Tamarick Vanover with his 4th career punt return for a touchdown. He's done it on kickoff returns throughout his career as well. He had been slumping this season, but 4 weeks ago he brought one back. 80 yards against Denver for a score. John Baker, the kickoff specialist. And here's Kaufman. Across the 25, stumbles forward to the 29. 17-yard return, Mike Myslowski, the tackle.
I talked about it before. Gunther Cunningham said, go like no one's blocking in front of you. Have them lay down. 5 white jerseys, only 2 red jerseys blocking. Tamarick Vanover says, forget it. I'll take it on myself. He doesn't get a block by anybody until the end. It's a sprint race. Gets a block there, but he's not going to catch him. But Tamarick Vanover, eyes up front. He takes off running and just hits it right in the gut. That's how you got to return a punt. Hit it right in the middle of the teeth of the coverage and just outrun the punter, and that's what he does. Touchdown, Kansas City Chiefs.
Vanover went untouched for the score. And now Oakland in a 7-0 hole with a 1st and 10 to the 29. Gannon picked off. James Hasty. Touchdown. The Raiders don't know what hit them.
And you talk about playing with confidence at home. They haven't lost to this Raider team, and not a player on this squad has lost to the Raiders at home, and they just have an air of confidence that they're going out there just dominating this team as they've dominated this team. I mean, when you go out and play like this right off the bat, your offense hasn't taken a snap, you're up 14-0.
Stoyanovich again. James Hasty, 7th interception of the season. 2nd touchdown of the year. And Kansas City in front by 2 touchdowns.
This is 1st down. He gets pretty good protection up front. It's a quick 3-stepper, turn and read it. But what Rich Gannon does, he turns and throws it. He does not look first. He just turns and goes through the motions, throws the ball. Great coverage by James Hasty. He's watching the quarterback. He knows it's a fast route. Boom, break on the ball, intercepts it. Another score for the Kansas City Chiefs.
34 yards on the return. They've got one via the punt return. They've got one via the interception return.
And I'll tell you what, I played in big games like this with the Washington Redskins and Dallas Cowboys, big impact games, playoff situations, implication, the crowd's into the game. If you're on the home team, your concentration level is so high right now, you're juiced up, and you score right off the bat. For the offense, we're sitting on the sideline saying, hey, we haven't even taken a snap yet. We're up 14-0. Now we can go out and implement what we do the best. We can just pound the football.
And they've been doing it all season. During that 4-game winning streak, they were living off of turnovers, and I don't think there's any irony involved that last week they didn't force a turnover in that loss to Seattle. That was the first time that happened all season for this Kansas City defense. John Baker, barefooted kicker, kicks it off again. High kick, this one sailing towards the end zone, and Kaufman will be forced to down it. It's like getting hit by a freight train.
And when you look at the situation, everybody's pumped up. Even the kicker, John Baker, that's his deepest kick of his career with the Kansas City Chiefs. Coming into the game, his deepest kick was to the 10. He finally gets one out in the end zone. Everybody gets their juices flowing, pumped up. Everybody's excited about what they're doing at this situation in the game.
John Gruden was hoping his team could finish off at 8-8, finish on an up note. Their 8 losses this season have come by a total of 34 points. They are in every game they play in, except this one early on. 12:38 to play in the first. Tyrone Wheatley busting through. And Wheatley quiets the crowd, at least for a moment, as he crosses the 30-yard line, brought down by Eric Warfield. An 11-yard gain for Wheatley.
When you want to quiet the crowd down, you need a big play. Settle yourself down on offense. Go behind Steve Wisniewski, the left guard. He's been a Pro Bowler in the past. Just pound the football with big Tyrone Wheatley, and it gets the offense going. You need to get settled down. Hey, guys, let's do what we do best. We're the #1 rush team in the NFL. Let's start pounding the football instead of throwing it on first down.
How about Wheatley? 11 yards on that carry. He had 13 yards all of last week on 12 carries. Nearly got it on that one carry. Off of play action, Gannon will throw it too high and incomplete. Intended receiver James Jett. He was covered by James Hasty. And Jett is down, very slow to get up, lying at the 40-yard line. And here comes the Raiders medical staff.
James Hasty at the line of scrimmage. He loves to get physical and press wide receivers right in their face and stays with them, breaking on the football at the right time, and just comes down over top of James Jett. And I look at this game. Here's the situation offensively. If I'm the Oakland Raiders, I'm thinking about reverse passes, because the speed of this defense and their pursuit, they're like a hungry dog going after fresh meat. They're going to go to the football. You've got to catch them off guard and come up with a big play offensively.
You know what else? I'm thinking about putting Charles Woodson in on offense.
Absolutely. You've got to do something to attract this defense, because right now they're just crushing the offense. They're coming up with big plays, and they're stuffing the offense on the pass play. And they came in with this game plan to throw the football, but the Kansas City Chiefs defense has been all over the passing game.
Tim Brown, the veteran of this receiving crew, standing over James Jett. Jett still down, now being helped to his feet as we step aside in Kansas City. Offense looking to get its first crack at the Oakland defense, but their team already in front, 14-0. You get loosened up, you get ready to go, and you see some wild things to start play. They'll take it any way they can get it. Kansas City trying to qualify for the playoffs on a 2nd and 10. On a pitch out for Kaufman. Little shake and bake move didn't work. As he crossed the 30-yard line and got to the line of scrimmage, no gain. Donnie Edwards on the tackle. Want to mention Leslie O'Neal. We talked about he needed 1 sack to pass Lawrence Taylor. It was ruled an incomplete pass earlier. He came oh so close to that sack, and the way this Kansas City defense has started out, they'll probably get it by the end of the day.
And knowing Leslie, I spent a year with Leslie when I spent a year in San Diego, and he's the type of guy that he'll go in and volley for that sack. He's not going to get it, but the way he's played over the years, he's gotten better, and he's become a perfect fit for this defense. A veteran player, been around a lot, and he's taking the place of Dan Williams, the injured player leaving the field right now. He'll be replaced by Tom Barnt.
So Williams is limping off. James Jett was able to walk off on his own power, replaced by Terry Mickens on the Oakland offense, which now faces a 3rd and 10. In the 90s, when the defense scores a touchdown, look at that record. especially against Oakland, undefeated. And they've already done that. Wow. 3rd and 10. Kenny Shedd in as a receiver for Oakland. Gannon, the former Chief, sends Brown in motion. Back to throw it. Gannon flushed out, in trouble. Gannon trying to unload it. Donnie Edwards got him down low. He could not get it to John Ritchie. And the Raiders will punt again. There is a flag on the field. Right at the 35-yard line. Chiefs will turn it down.
An eligible downfield prior to the pass. 63 on the offense. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
So Walt Coleman lets us in on the penalty, but of course Kansas City will turn it down and Oakland will punt once again. Aragus, the 46-yarder, but maybe that gave Vanover too much room.
Out punting the coverage, and that's key. You've got to make sure you punt it high enough for your coverage unit to get down and cover the ball. But I'll tell you right now, Tamarick Vanover is fired up. He can't wait to get his hands on this ball.
Already ripped one off for a touchdown. Now has some room to work with again. From the 25, going to the sideline, and forced out of bounds as he crossed the 35. Johnny Harris was the man that forced him out. 43-yard punt, a 12-yard return. And an injury on the field right around the 37-yard line where the tackle was made.
Now, and this is one of those games where guys are just laying out, giving everything they have because there's so much at stake. You're going to see big hits. There's already been a few injuries in this game, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few more because of what's at stake for the Chiefs and for the Raiders. Everyone on that field is selling out, giving what they have.
Appears to be Tamarick Vanover, the return man, who is slow to get up as they are looking at the left leg. And now Vanover will be helped to his feet. Well, you know it's a physical contest when these two teams play. That's how it's always been. But really, this hasn't been much of a rivalry of late because the Chiefs have dominated the Raiders over the last 10, 12 years.
Particularly at home, but earlier this season, they had a big lead on this Kansas City Chiefs team, 14 points going in to the 4th quarter, and the Chiefs came back and won the game. And they've been able to battle a little bit better at home, but just playing at Arrowhead, it hasn't been close.
Score to keep an eye on today if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan. The Seattle Jets contest, 3-0. Seahawks. Handoff. Bam Morris. First play from scrimmage for this Kansas City offense. And it comes at 10:47 left in the first. 4-yard gain. Greg Biekert the tackle. Elvis Gerback, 4-0 in his career against the Raiders. And you know there are some extra emotions when he goes up against Rich Gannon now, that the two will always be connected after their stay here in Kansas City. Still a lot of people in this area big fans of Gannon and felt that he should have been the guy that got the starting nod the rest of the way, and not Elvis Gerback. Bam Morris getting the carry for a pickup of 2. Kansas City offense and left tackle, they've been rotating, and Glenn Parker does get the nod today, along with Zott, Grunhard, Shields, and Riley, a veteran group on that offensive line. Backs and receivers, Kansas City running game ineffective last week in that loss to Seattle, just 72 yards on the ground. Alexander, Rison, and Gonzalez, the receivers and tight end. This will be a 3rd and 4 for Kansas City. In a 3-receiver set, dime package for Oakland from the 44. Put it on the ground. Tony Richardson has the first down. Richardson into Oakland territory across the 30-yard line. Tony Richardson didn't get many opportunities in past years running the football. He's getting them now with Gunther Cunningham running the show.
And what they do is they pull Will Shields, their Pro Bowl guard, around. Tony Richardson stays in his hip pocket. As soon as he makes his block, he gets to the corner and breaks contain and turns it upfield, and that's where you get your progress. If you can get to the corner, you can get a big 300-pounder out in front of you. You can cut down the edge, get that edge, hit it and get it. Tony Bennett does. Big play for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Pitch it again. This time it's Bam Morris breaking tackles and brought down at the 21. Travian Smith, the linebacker, could not haul him down to the grass. As we take a look at the Oakland defense, Lance Johnstone coming off a 3-sack performance last week in the loss to San Diego. double figures for the second straight year. Russell, Maryland, and Harris across that line. Travian Smith getting the start for Richard Harvey, who's out with the flu. Allen, Mincy, Newman, and Woodson, who's going to his second straight Pro Bowl. Bennett sidestepping initially and then upended as he tried to get it to the 20-yard line, and will probably give him forward progress for a pickup of 2. Eric Barton along with Travian Smith making the stop.
And this game is set up perfectly for the Kansas City Chiefs offense. As long as they have the lead, they can run their type of offense. Pound the football, rotate your backs, keep them fresh. That's Gunther Cunningham style. And right now, that's what they're doing. They want to wear down the front 4 of the Oakland Raiders so they can own the trenches in the fourth quarter.
They are yet to pass as they face a 2nd and 8. Moss. He got 4 on that right side of the line, and Eric Barton with the tackle. Well, they're making no bones about it. They are running the football, already up 14-0. And you're right, this is playing right into the hands of the Kansas City offense. Look at the numbers this season. That's what's probably the most impressive part about this KC offense. They don't have that one top-notch running back that's going to carry the load. They get it done with a bunch of running backs.
And what it does is it keeps everybody fresh and keeps everybody in the ballgame. In case there's an injury, somebody can come in.
Gerback throwing for the first time. Incomplete. On a 3rd and 4, Bam Morris was matched up with Greg Biekert. He took the shot, couldn't hold on. And we will see Pete Stoyanovich come on and attempt a field goal.
It's a nice play by Greg Biekert. He's the only guy of the front 7 that stays in for every play. Nickel situation, short yardage, first down, whatever. Makes a nice play here. A great stick by Biekert, and he's had a heck of a year. He's led the team in tackles again this year.
Stoyanovich over 100 points for the 9th time in his 11-year NFL career. This will be a 33-yard attempt for Stoyanovich. And he puts it through to add to the Kansas City lead. 17-0 Chiefs here in the first quarter.
Sponsored by Charles Schwab. When we created a smarter kind of investment firm, we also created a smarter kind of investor. And by Mitsubishi Motors.
Kansas City with a 17-0 lead, 7:31 to play in the first quarter, an 8-play, 46-yard drive, all of those yards on the ground. And it ends up in a 33-yard field goal for Pete Stoyanovich. This will be the 4th Raider possession. Kaufman lets it take a bounce, out of bounds, flag comes down, so the Raiders will have good field position to start out this drive.
Kickoff out of bounds. Ball will be placed 30 yards from the spot of the kick. First down at the 40.
Inauspicious start for Rich Gannon in his return to Kansas City. Picked off by James Hasty in a 34-yard interception return. One of the touchdowns that we've seen. The other coming from Tamarick Vanover on an 84-yard return. Vanover left the game, though, with an injured left ankle. His return is questionable. Dan Williams on the defensive line for KC, also an injured ankle. Questionable return. Handoff. Tyrone Wheatley spinning his way forward, going up the middle to the 44-yard line, a gain 4. Right now, let's get an NFL Today report. Let's head to New York. Jim Nance.
All right, Ian, of course, Kansas City fans cheering for the Jets today. 13-play drive, 68 yards, stuffed at the 6. Curtis Martin stopped that leads to a field goal. 23 yards, John Hall. 3-3. Let's go back to Ian and Mark.
Jim, a victory for Kansas City today, coupled with a Seattle loss against the Jets, and the Chiefs will be the AFC West champions. A win for KC, and no matter what Seattle does, Chiefs are in the playoffs anyway. Off of play action, John Ritchie extending his way forward to midfield, and it looks to be enough for a first down. Reggie Tongue with the tackle, a 6-yard gain on that little flip from Gannon to Ritchie. And a look at the AFC playoff picture.
And right here, if you look at this playoff, all those teams are in with the stars on the side, but this is a game, Seattle, Kansas City. It means so much for each of these teams. This is the way it should be. If you're win, you're in. You should earn your way into the playoffs. Each of these teams, they know what's at stake and how to get to the playoffs.
1st and 10 for Oakland from the 50. Play fake. Gannon. Hit as he throws, but he got it to Wheatley. Wheatley has a first down as he's met at the 40-yard line. They picked up 10. Tracy Walker forcing him out of bounds. Let's get another NFL Today report. Back to Jim Nance in New York.
All right, Colts, of course, in a battle with Jacksonville for home field throughout. Playing at Buffalo, Antoine Smith breaks it, 21 yards. Bills lead 7-3 with a minute to go first quarter. Let's go back to Ian and Mark.
All right, Jim, thank you. They did not give Wheatley a favorable spot. Comes up just inches shy of a first down. So 2nd and inches in a double tight end set. Flag comes down, handoff to Zach Crockett, and Crockett will go the distance, but this one will be called back.
And that'll be a false start on right tackle Daryl Ashmore. When you get tackles that haven't played in a hostile environment, they can't hear the quarterback's cadence, and they try to get off the count.
False start, 64, offense, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
You got the right guard on that one, but it was the right tackle Ashmore that moved. And this is a situation you can't hear in these situations. There's nothing that can keep you on time except looking at the ball. If you can't hear, look at the ball. You know the snap count. Concentrate on the football.
So instead of 2nd and inches, it's 2nd and a long 5. We can call it 6. Wheatley in the backfield with Ritchie. Brown in motion. Off of play action, Gannon forced to throw it quickly, and Ritchie has his helmet knocked off. Reggie Tongue laid him out. Incomplete.
And that was a clean hit. That's telling you, you're in my backyard, you come in my area, and you will pay the price. Right there, it's a clean hit with the shoulder, just knocks the helmet off, and John Ritchie's wondering what happened.
I don't know if you've gotten the sense. Is Kansas City ready to play here?
Oh, yeah, they're fired up.
Oh,
we had this team last week. It's a different football team. Last week, they were not ready to play. They started off slow. Gunther Cunningham said, we've got to start off fast on defense. Well, they have.
3 receivers set for the Raiders. On 3rd down. Chiefs in the nickel package as they crowd the line. Here they come on a blitz. Gannon standing tall in the pocket, lofts it in the air, and Brown didn't see it. Flag comes down. There was some contact with James Hastings. Brown flailed the arms. Who initiated the contact? Kansas City.
Holding, 44, defense, 5 yards, automatic, first down.
Well, they've got Eric Warfield on the call. It's a first down.
Right, he's got him by the shoulder. He won't let him go. Right on the outside.
Other
Kenny
side of the
Shedd,
field.
Far away from the play.
So he brought down Kenny Shedd at the line of scrimmage. Warfield, in his 2nd year out of Nebraska, plays that nickel position for this Kansas City defense. Shedd seeing extended time because James Jett is on the sidelines with a shoulder injury. Kaufman is now on the backfield. On first down into Kansas City territory, and Kaufman is brought down from behind. He ran into tacklers every which angle, and Leslie O'Neal was the first man there after a pickup of maybe a yard.
And I'll tell you what, I'm very impressed with Leslie O'Neal. His 14th season in the NFL, had a big game last week against the Seattle Seahawks, and already he's got 2 clean hits on quarterback Rich Gannon. He's already made a tackle, and the thing about Leslie O'Neal, he's going against Barry Sims. Barry Sims had been the starting right guard until Mo Collins got injured. They moved him to left tackle. The advantage has to go to Leslie O'Neal.
2nd and 9. Gannon under a rush and sacked. Marcus Patton, first man there. And then the rest of the Kansas City defense came in to finish him off.
Now on this play, it was just a cross dog on the outside. Oakland couldn't pick it up. Marcus Patton comes around. Watch him coming around. He's going to come around and get the sack. No one's there to pick him up. Excellent blitz by the Kansas City Chiefs. Rich Gannon doesn't have a chance. With both of these tackles down, it's going to be tough for them to protect the quarterback. They have to leave a back in, a 6 protector or a tight end, and Rich Gannon is going to have a very long day throwing the football.
They lost 5 as Patton picks up another sack. That's a tremendous number at the linebacker position, and a timeout has been called. Kansas City uses its first timeout. Oakland used one early in the game, and the clock stops with 4:24 left in the first. Coming up Monday on CBS, see why Entertainment Weekly calls The King of Queens one of the 4 best shows on TV. Kevin James and Jerry Stiller star in The King of Queens. It's Monday on CBS.
I think he was an offensive lineman in his former life.
Who, James?
Yeah.
He's got the bulk. I don't know if he has the size.
He's got that look to him. He's got the appeal. He could be a guard.
Now, there's no doubt that Leslie O'Neal and this Kansas City defense licking their chops because of the inexperience at tackles. And I'm sure you saw it first year or two in the NFL. Yes, you came into the league as a high draft pick, but if there's a veteran defensive lineman going against you, he's excited about the matchup against a youngster because he's probably got moves you've never seen. And
not only that, he's already got your name etched into his holster pad saying 4 sacks today, 3 pressures, 2 knockdowns.
This is a 3rd and 14. Gannon under a rush again, steps up, now has time, throwing underneath and intercepted. Chris Dishman with the pick. Gannon with his 2nd INT of the day. And this one has not even been close early.
Now, and for Rich Gannon, he should run with his football. He's being pressured. When he's pressured, he likes to step up right in the middle of the pocket. He avoids the rush, and he does. Take off and run with the football. Get positive yardage. He tries to force it back across the grain, and Chris Dishman just breaks on the ball. There's no way that ball was going to get to Tim Brown anyway. It was going to be thrown in the dirt, in the turf, but Chris Dishman comes up with the interception. That's a sweet play by Dishman.
So Gannon now 3 of 9 throwing the football, 2 interceptions, and Dishman has his 5th of the season. Bam Morris trying to run off tackle. And just about everybody on that Oakland defense came over to make sure that he wasn't going to pick up more than 3. Clock is moving with just 4 minutes left here in the first. And you might recall Dishman scored 2 touchdowns in the last meeting with the Oakland Raiders, but he got burned last week for 2 touchdowns in that loss in Seattle.
And it's good to see him rebound, but I'll tell you one thing, he probably loves to see the silver and black so far. This is his first year with the Kansas City Chiefs, his 2nd time facing the Oakland Raiders. He has 3 turnovers.
On 2nd and 7, trying to push the pile forward, Bam Morris, but he's tackled by Greg Biekert along with Lance Johnstone. No gain on the play. NFL Today report. We'll keep you updated here today. Here's Jim Nance.
All right, Ian, let's keep an eye again on Seattle here. 3rd down play. Kitna connects with Sean Dawkins. It sets up a Todd Peterson field goal, and Seattle leads 6-3 and a quarter change in New York. Let's go back to Ian and Mark.
17-0 our score here in Kansas City with 3:12 left in the first. And a 3-receiver set for Elvis Gerback to work with. On a 3rd and 7, Joe Horn checks into the game. Here's Gerback stepping up, hit as he throws. Grady Jackson was the man applying the pressure, incomplete. And Kansas City will punt the football.
Grady Jackson one-on-one with Dave Zott, and Grady Jackson is a load. They have him at 6'2", 325, but he looks like he's about 370 pounds. That is a load in the middle. You've got to be able to hold up as an offensive lineman. If you let him get by the quarterback, make him go to the outside, the long way to the quarterback. Don't give him the shortest route through the middle.
Daniel Pope, his first punt of the day, rookie out of Alabama. And it's blocked. Taking it back the other way for the score, Kenny Shedd. Raiders needed a big play, and they get it. Touchdown, Oakland.
And just like that, Frank Gans, a special teams coach, the punt team for the Kansas City Chiefs stayed out extra after the game. I very rarely see that when a punt team stays out, practices punts and covering punts before the game as an entire unit. They knew they had problems up front against the Raider punt rush, and right here it pays off for the Oakland Raiders. They come storming in. Not just one guy, 3, 4, 5 guys in the middle, all white jerseys right there to block the punt, and it's recovered by Kenny Shedd for a touchdown.
Marquise Walker was the man who got his hands on it. Now the Oakland Raiders unable to do anything on the offensive end, but off of special teams they get the score, and Joe Nedney adds the extra point. Chiefs have dominated the first quarter, but Oakland does get on the board at 17-7. Walker blocked it, and Shedd scored it. That combination has put Oakland on the board. They trail now 17-7 here in the late stages of the first quarter. Joe Nedney will kick it off for Oakland, and Joe Horn is in the game for Kansas City as the return man for the injured Tamarick Vanover out with the left ankle. Take a bounce. Horn has blazing speed. Let's see what he can do. Here's Horn cutting it back. And tackled down at the 25-yard line. Calvin Branch, first man there after the 24-yard return.
Marquise Walker right here does an up and in move over Reggie Tongue to get the block. Nice move. It's a speed move upfield. Then right there, zips right under, blocks the punt. Nice job by Marquise Walker. Another look at it. And Kenny Shedd, Johnny on the spot, picks it up, scores a touchdown.
Frank Gans Jr., the special teams coach, and of course his dad, Frank Gans Sr., former head coach with the Kansas City Chiefs. Donnell Bennett in the backfield, but movement before the play even happens. Left side of that Kansas City offensive line.
It's Tony Gonzalez, the tight end.
Prior to the snap, false start, 88, offense, 5 yards, still first down.
Gonzalez, the first Kansas City tight end to be selected to the Pro Bowl, made a mistake here. Second penalty for Kansas City. And penalties have been a problem this season for the Chiefs, including last week against Seattle.
11 penalties last week.
On a 1st and 15, Bennett gets the carry, running straight into the line. And pushed forward to the 25. So everybody on that Kansas City offensive line trying to get involved to give Donnell Bennett some extra yardage. Let's give him a gain of 5 on first down.
And it should have been a gain of 2, but the offensive linemen around him kept their feet moving, moved the pile, pushed the pile. Greg Biekert had a one-on-one shot, had perfect leverage on Donnell Bennett with a 2-yard gain and could not bring him down. There's 54, but you're taught to push the pile, keep them moving, get that extra yardage, keep it going, fall forward. I love that kind of blocking.
Flag comes down on a 2nd and 10. Lance Johnstone came firing in off of that Oakland defensive line. Let's see if they call it on 51.
Defense, offsides, unabated to the quarterback. 5 yards, still 2nd down.
So it is Johnstone that hands Kansas City some yardage.
And jumping offsides right there, not only Lance Johnstone, but Darrell Russell also. Both of them had their own snap count.
So a 2nd and 5 now. Penalties a problem for the Oakland Raiders last week as well, with 13 of them. Gerback on 2nd down. Incomplete. Off the deflection. Kansas City now faces a 3rd down. James Harris was the man who got a piece of it, and Gerback is now 0 of 3 throwing the football.
And if I'm running this offense, I've already beat them up offensively in the offensive line, just smash mouth football. Why stop on 2nd and 5? Get them in a 3rd and 1 where you can just beat them up some more. If you're going to throw the ball play action 2nd down, go long with the football. Don't dink and dunk with it on a play action.
On a 3rd and 5, Gonzalez sets up as a receiver to the outside. Gerback stepping forward and brought down. Greg Biekert was the man that made the little push. Gerback tried to wrestle himself free and ended up falling down to the turf.
And no one picks up Greg Biekert on this blitz. Nice stunt by the front line right there. See the X's? The guy's going in front of him. He just comes around. It's a T-Mac stunt. No one touches Greg Biekert. Albert Gerback saw it out of the side of his eye, couldn't pick it up fast enough and throw the football. But in that situation, the quarterback has to know, feel that, throw the ball away.
Daniel Pope had it blocked earlier. This one he gets off cleanly. Darian Gordon, fair catch at the 26. Well, the Oakland Raiders trailing 17-7 get the football back, and if they could possibly get another score before the end of the first quarter, they will have avoided complete disaster in the opening period. Coming up next Saturday, CBS Sports goes wall to wall. 1:23 left in the first quarter. Now the Kansas City crowd will get vocal once again. Wheatley in the backfield as Ritchie shifts over. Wheatley will get the carry. With a head of steam, he tried to hit that line hard as he picked up 4 to the 30-yard line. Tom Bart will be given credit for the tackle. It'll be 2nd and 6. This is the first quarter alone. 2 returns for touchdowns for Kansas City. Raiders have a return for a touchdown. Not much in way of offense so far.
No, in a game like this, defense usually leads you. Defense gets you championships. In big games, defense usually comes up with the big plays, and offense catches up in the second half.
Oakland switch up the running back with Kaufman now in for Wheatley on a 2nd and 6. Fake the inside handoff, go to the outside. Kaufman getting towards the sideline. The football was jarred loose, but he was able to cross the marker. And a new set of downs for Oakland to work with as Derek Thomas had the pursuit on the sideline.
That's what they like to do with Napoleon Kaufman. Get to the perimeter, use his speed. He's Mr. Outside, Tyrone Wheatley's Mr. Inside. Get him the ball. Innovative ways of getting into the outside. Fake it on the inside, pitch it to the outside. That's where his speed is best used if you can get Napoleon Kaufman outside the tackle.
That's a great combo, and the Raiders certainly recognize that, giving Kaufman a 2-year deal worth $6 million. Wheatley a 3-year deal worth $10 million. Brown in motion. This is Wheatley on the inside. Tried to struggle forward, he did, to the 43-yard line. Donnie Edwards cut him down low, but Wheatley did a good job of picking up 5 yards on first down as time will expire here in the first quarter. End of 1 with a score, Kansas City 17, Oakland 7. We'll return to Arrowhead Stadium. The Chiefs looking to go to the playoffs. We're coming back after this message. Kansas City for the start of the second quarter. Chiefs got off to a terrific start here. Well, they now lead it 17-7, and the Raiders are driving. 2nd and 5 from the 42. Here's Gannon, the former Chief. Forced out of the pocket and forced to throw it away. It'll be 3rd down. Chester McLaughlin, the former Raider, came in to apply some pressure, and the Chiefs were looking for a flag.
Chester McLaughlin this year, 53 quarterback pressures. That's number 54. And he's a man on the offensive line. It takes 2 blockers to hold him off, and he gets penetration. It's one thing the Chiefs have been able to do with Bart and McLaughlin in there on early downs is they're able to collapse the pocket, push the offensive lineman back to the quarterback.
Kaufman by himself in the backfield on a 3rd and 5. 3 receivers set. Inside handoff, Kaufman could not get around Donnie Edwards. Shy of a first down, he picked up 3, he needed 5.
And that is a tremendous play by Donnie Edwards because there was a gaping hole. If Kaufman takes the ball to the outside, he could be gone. Everybody's blitzing the passer. Derek Thomas comes flying up the field. There's a huge hole there, but he takes it to the outside. But Donnie Edwards, with his speed and his angle on the pursuit, is able to tackle Napoleon Kaufman short of the first down.
We mentioned the injury to Tamarick Vanover, the ankle, so Kevin Lockett steps in to return punts. Aragoose gets it off, line drive. Lockett makes his move. Getting across the 20 and ahead to the 23. Zach Crockett making the tackle on special teams. Kansas City had a problem with field position last week. They averaged an 18-yard start last week against Seattle. It was one of those games, Mark, where field position really came into play, and the Chiefs never could get out of their own territory to get drives started, and it really hurt them. Obviously today it's been a different story with all of these wacky plays in the first quarter.
And it's tough for the offense. If every time you go out there and drive with the football, you've got to go 80 yards plus.
Donnell Bennett keeps the feet moving, but was able to pick up maybe 1. Grady Jackson the tackle. Let's go to New York right now. Jim Nantz is standing by with an NFL Today report.
All right, and I want you to watch this piece of running by Curtis Martin. He has broken now the Jets single-season rushing mark of Freeman McNeil. Watch the effort here in a pile, and he just keeps backloading all the way inside the 10. It sets up a Martin touchdown run, and the Jets are in front in the second quarter. Let's go back to you.
Now you got a bunch of Kansas City fans that are happy about that score, Jim, in the early going. Gerback throwing too high. Derek Alexander was the target out on the far sideline. It's incomplete. And the clock stops with 13:34 to play, first half. Elvis Gerback told Gunther Cunningham earlier this week, "I never thought a defensive coach could work with quarterbacks the way that you have this season." And Gunther told us he was blown away by that.
And what's key about that is quarterbacks are in their own little world with their quarterback coaches. They go in their room and they're the X's and O's and they're going over zone blitzes and coverage and routes and all this stuff. And they don't think defensive coaches with their mentality understand that, but Gunther Cunningham knows that because he had to guard this offense. He knows about those routes and he knows how to treat people.
Tony Gonzalez, the intended receiver, had a chance to pick up the first down, but Greg Biekert was there to bring him down. Don't know if Gonzalez was thinking about running first before catching.
A nice job of coverage by Greg Beekert. He's been all over the field. Wherever the ball's thrown in that mid to intermediate range, he's been around the football the entire afternoon.
Beekert, he's a free agent at the end of the season. Gruden said they'd love to keep him. He's going to get some offers. Here's Gordon on the return, middle of the field, and Gordon gets across the 45. And a flag back in Kansas City territory. 40-yard punt, 9-yard return. And against Kansas City, Ralph Tam, the snapper.
Ineligible downfield prior to the kick. Number 51 of the kicking team. Penalty is declined. First down.
Great field position for Oakland, so they're not going to turn that down. Raiders trailing the Chiefs 17. Kansas City with the lead here in the second quarter. Coming up Saturday on CBS, join Dick Clark for the biggest game show in TV history. From the creator of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, don't miss Winning Lines, premiering Saturday on CBS.
I wonder if I can get on that program. Think I have a chance?
Well, you just made a little pitch here on
You
network
caught that,
TV.
huh? Looking at this offense for the Oakland Raiders, I think at this point you've got to go to Ricky Dudley. You've tried to throw the ball long, no success. You've had a little success running the football. Let's get it to our tight end Dudley. He's been great in the red area, but here you've got a guy that's 6'6" that's going to be covered by a linebacker 3 or 4 inches shorter than he is. Take your chances with Ricky Dudley. Get 4 or 5, 8 yards of crowd.
Neither quarterback has played well. The difference, Gannon threw a pick that went back for a score from James Hasty. Oakland best field position of the day. Gannon throwing to John Ritchie, who hits the 50-yard line for a pickup of 4 through the air. Derek Thomas with a tackle.
John Ritchie has been a nice part of this offense for John Gruden as a fullback. Coming into the game, he's caught 37 passes, only 5 runs. Great blocker in goal line situations. Pretty good pass protector when he's in there. But if you want to dump the ball up in the West Coast offense, get it to your running backs, get it to your fullbacks. You want those 4- and 5-yard gains on first downs, it's just like a run.
3 receiver alignment on 2nd and 6, but they'll keep it on the ground. Kaufman spinning off a tackle. Napoleon Kaufman into Kansas City territory and down out around the 40-yard line. Reggie Tung, the tackle, a 9-yard gain for Kaufman. Woods had a chance to bring him down when Kaufman ran into that crowd, but couldn't do so.
And for Jerome Woods, it's just practicing tackling right here. Hit him and wrap up. His head's down. He doesn't wrap his arms up. That's why he doesn't make the tackle at the line of scrimmage. That's one thing about the NFL this year. Tackling. Defensive players are poor tacklers this year in the NFL. That's something that they have to work on.
Kaufman at the sideline. Wheatley comes in. On a 1st and 10 from the 41. This is Wheatley. And he is met as he crossed the 40-yard line by Marvcus Patton, who is a tackling machine. And Wheatley picked up about 3. Top rushing duos in the NFL. You see Wheatley and Kaufman. Now, obviously, you have to keep in mind, you could just take one guy like Curtis Martin, who's gained 1,500 yards, and tack on another. We're looking for 2 guys that are contributing.
We want guys that carry the load.
And these 2 have certainly carried the load for the top rushing attack of the NFL. On a 2nd and 6. Tom Bart came firing in on Rich Gannon, along with Eric Hicks. So this Kansas City defensive line is getting pressure and collapsing that pocket.
Now, and I talked about those tackles, McLaughlin and Barton, knocking the offensive line interior back, and right there, Chester McLaughlin knocks 2 back. The center, Barrett Robinson, he steps on Rich Gannon. That's one key as an offensive lineman. I played center and guard. Once you get set in your stance, when you kick back, you make sure you know where that quarterback is, because most quarterbacks step up and then they retreat when they drop back for a pass.
A loss of 5, now a 3rd and 11. Gannon throwing on the slant. It's complete to Terry Mickens. And he is down right around the 30-yard line. They picked up 12, needed 11. James Hasty on the tackle. And now Oakland is moving the football. New set of downs.
For James Hasty, here's a guy that likes to play in your face. Get up there. Once he drops back, Rich Gannon knows he's going to look to throw the ball to the outside to Mickens. He breaks it off because he's not pressured at the line. It's a quick slant to the inside. That's where you're going to pick up your yardage. When they drop back off from that face-to-face, man-to-man press, that's where you can pick up yardage on the Kansas City defense. Make it a quick pass.
Just the 19th reception of the season for Mickens. Wheatley is in the backfield. Double tight end set with Dudley and Brigham. Wheatley will get the carry. Sidesteps 1 tackler. exploding through the hole. Tyrone Wheatley is spun down inside the 15-yard line. Chris Dishman with the tackle, and that's a 14-yard run and well earned by Tyrone Wheatley. He broke Donnie Edwards' grasp and made something out of nothing.
James Hasty down with an injury.
So Hasty is slow to get up. We've already seen some injuries for Kansas City early on. Dan Williams and Tamarik Vanover. James Jett for Oakland went out with a shoulder injury.
And he's grabbing his right knee.
And obviously your thought, if you're part of the Kansas City coaching staff or a Kansas City fan, hey, season doesn't end here today if you get a win.
He got his knee caught right there at the end of the pile. Chris Dishman got swung around trying to make the tackle, and watch his right foot. Chris Dishman falls and gets pinned right there. Right there.
Looked like it hyperextended for a brief moment. And the right knee of Hasty is what the medical staff is looking at right now. Pro Bowl. What a season he is having. 7 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, and right around 100 tackles at the cornerback spot.
And that's big at the cornerback spot because most cornerbacks like to play off. They don't want to get into that physical contact zone, but that's not James Hasty. That's his forte. Mix it up with anybody.
1st and 10 for Oakland. Line of scrimmage is the 15. 17-7, Kansas City leading it. Inside a handoff as Gannon used a bit of trickery to get it to Zach Crockett. They picked up 2. Chester McLaughlin with the stop.
Now, you would think with all the changes on the offensive line for the Oakland Raiders that the Kansas City Chiefs defensive front would be able to take advantage of it. Not in this drive. Even though they substituted player for player, both tackles, right guard, they've been able to move the ball on the ground offensively and protect the quarterback when they had to on this drive.
Backs are split with Wheatley and Ritchie. And now Wheatley will shift over behind. On a 2nd and 8. Handoff, Tyrone Wheatley. Tried to cut it against the grain and then thought better of it. Play was designed to go right from the start, and he picked up just 1. Edwards collaborating with Patton to make the tackle.
Donnie Edwards all over the field. Sheds blockers. He finds a way to get in on the tackle. Sheds a block right there. He's looking for the ball, but Tyrone Wheatley cutting against the grain, trying to find something happening. Donnie Edwards will find you. He has enough speed at the linebacker position. That's what they love about Donnie Edwards. 6'2", 235 pounds, but he runs like a safety.
Another change on that Oakland offensive line. DiNapoli now steps in at left guard, and Steve Wisniewski is out.
Wow.
On a 3rd and 7. Here's Gannon. Underneath the coverage for Crockett. Zach Crockett lunging forward. He's in. Touchdown Raiders. Despite the poor start here in Kansas City, the Raiders have come firing back, and they're an extra point away from trailing 17-14.
What an outstanding call by John Gruden. Go with the screen. You know you've got a lot of problems in the offensive line. You can't pass protect. So make it look like you can't protect the quarterback. Let the defensive front go. Get out there and block for your running back. And Zach Crockett does the best, just driving to the end zone.
His first receiving touchdown of the season. Out of the hold of Leo Aragouz, Joe Nedney kicks through the extra point. A 9-play, 54-yard drive, taking up just under 5 minutes of the clock. Gruden and the Raiders are back in it in the second. Kansas City Chiefs 6-1 at Arrowhead this season. Their lone home loss came back in Week 11 against the Seattle Seahawks. KC still has the lead on Oakland, but it's now 17-14 as Joe Nedney will kick it off. Joe Horn in for the injured Tamarik Vanover, and Horn able to field it from the 4. Forced out of bounds, shy of the 10. Once again, field position a problem as Charles Mincy was there with the coverage, and Horn, similar to a baseball player, let the ball play him. Raiders offense, first 5 possessions, total of 51 yards. Their last drive, they went over that number.
and they did it with backup offensive linemen. The only offensive lineman that's in his natural position is Barrett Robbins, the center, and they were able to execute offensively. That's what's impressive about that offensive drive.
And on that drive, Rich Gannon was 3 of 3 throwing the football, 29 yards, and the touchdown to Crockett. Kansas City offense, they didn't have to do anything early. They do now. Play action. Gerback. Plenty of time as he throws to the sideline, complete. Andre Rison. Just his 20th catch of the season. First down for KC. First half possessions, they have the field goal to show for what their offense has done. Now keep in mind, they did get touchdowns. One off a punt return from Vanover that went the distance, and an interception return for James Hasty. For Elvis Gerback, his first completion of the day, and it comes at the 8-minute mark of the second quarter. Looking for his second, looking for the long ball, down the middle of the field, and it's incomplete. Derek Alexander, along with Pro Bowler Charles Woodson, Michigan versus Michigan. And the defensive player wins out in that battle.
A lot of teams do not throw at Charles Woodson. He only has 1 interception this year, and that was against the Kansas City Chiefs the first time around. He returned it for a touchdown, but here he backpedals. He plays Derek Alexander perfectly. He knows it's going to be a post pattern. He just runs with him stride for stride, looking at the football. When he turns to look back, then he breaks right there as soon as the ball gets there. That's quickness. That's attacking the football at the last second. Perfect play by Charles Woodson.
2nd and 10 from the 22. Gerback wants to throw it again. Underneath the coverage to Tony Gonzalez, but he's wrapped up very quickly by Greg Beaker. Just a 3-yard gain, modest gain on 2nd down. It'll be 3rd down.
And I'll tell you what, Greg Beaker's got to be one of the quietest stories, one of the best stories in the NFL. 128 tackles coming in. He's like 50 tackles ahead of anybody else on this defense, and he's all over the field.
He's been the starter at middle linebacker for this team since 1994. He calls the defensive plays. He has just been rock solid for this Oakland defense over the years, but does not have a big name around the NFL. On 3rd and 7, Gerback looking for the first down and throws it low for Joe Horn. He bounced it in Horn's vicinity. Incomplete. The Chiefs will punt.
And I'll tell you what, Elvis Gerback has not been accurate with his throws this afternoon. I wonder if that shoulder's hurting. In the last play of the game against the Seattle Seahawks last week, he got nailed at the end of the game, and his shoulder was bothering him, and he just doesn't look like he's following through with the football. A couple of them have been low already in this game.
Gerback 2 of 9 to start play for just 15 yards. Polk couldn't handle the snap. Able to get it off. Fortunate that he did. Oakland will have tremendous field position at their own 48-yard line. That's a 28-yard punt. And the rookie might be feeling the butterflies a bit in this playoff-type situation. The Kansas City punt earlier for a touchdown, and they nearly got another.
Not a perfect snap by Ralph Tam, but Pope should have handled this. Daniel Pope should have it right there. What an outstanding job. He kicks it off the instep of his foot to get it out of there. That is a tremendous job of getting rid of the football by Daniel Pope.
But look at the field position, the 48, as Zach Crockett gets the carry. And he gained 2, depending upon where they spot the football. Chris Dishman, first man to greet him. Clock is moving with 6:48 left. First half. And Pope still going over it with anyone that'll listen. It's Pete Stoyanovich right now.
And Pete's not even listening. Usually nobody wants to hear it when the special teams guys make a mistake, and Pete Stoyanovich is just, don't tell me about it. I've been in that position before. Go out there and punt the football, field it, punt it.
Steve Wisniewski is back for Oakland on the offensive line, and James Hasty has returned for Kansas City. Play fake. Gannon. Wobbly throw, knocked up in the air and incomplete. Tim Brown could not haul it in cleanly. It'll be 3rd and 8.
Pressure on the play from defensive end Eric Hicks. He's cut on the play, but in a game like this, you've just got to go through those cuts and get to the quarterback. But no one touches Tim Brown right across here, just runs right across the field. Ball's wobbled, but that's a ball that Tim Brown should come down with. As successful as he's been in his 12-year career, had a great year this year, over 1,200 yards catching the football, won another Pro Bowl. That's a ball he should catch.
Chiefs fans urging on the defense. 3rd and 8 for Oakland. Gannon stepping forward. Little flip forward. He gets it to Ritchie, but he's forced out of bounds short of the first down. Needed 8. He got 3, and Hasty was the man that forced him toward the sideline. Oakland will punt.
and for Rich Gannon, trying to make something happen out of nothing right here with a makeshift offensive line. They're collapsing the pocket. He tries to get away and just two-handed pass, get rid of it. Two-hand pitch. He gets it to John Ritchie. They pick up positive yards on the play, but that's just doing whatever it takes to make a play successful.
Leo Aragus, his fourth punt of the afternoon, with Kevin Lockett standing deep at his own 9-yard line, filling in for Vanover. Aragus. That one may have been partially blocked.
I'll tell you what. It looks like both of them were running into each other. Derek Thomas and Leo Aragus, and Leo Aragus is on the ground.
Flag on the play, and Kansas City is going to get whistled on knocking down the punter. Derek Thomas looking around to see whether or not the officials are going to change their mind. They are not. And here's Thomas making contact on that right knee.
On the defense, number 58, at the 5-yard, results in a first down.
So it keeps the Oakland drive alive. Running into the kicker 5 yards. Roughing the kicker, the 15-yard penalty. They didn't get him on that.
For Derek Thomas, he could not stop his momentum, trying to make a play. And even at the end of the play, he grabs the punter, Leo Aragus, and he lays on the ground grabbing his knee. That's pretty good acting by him. He gets up and trots off the field. But for Derek Thomas, that's just aggression, trying to make a play, trying to make something happen. And sometimes you're a little too aggressive. This is a big game. You're pulling out all the stops. That's why he's in there on punt block.
So instead of Kansas City's offense getting the football, Oakland's drive continues with a 1st and 10 at the 42. Wheatley ran into a brick wall as he tried to get it up across the 35. Ron George made the tackle, a gain of 4, maybe 4.5. And the clock is moving with 5:38 to play in the second quarter. Oakland able to get back into this game. Kansas City, under Gunther Cunningham, got off to about as quick a start as you will see. 14 points, bang, bang, without an offensive play being run.
Sometimes that happens in a game. You get a little complacent because you think you're so far ahead you can't lose. Now they've got to pick up the slack and make some plays on both sides of the ball.
On 2nd and 6, Wheatley running into a crowd. Leslie O'Neal along with Patton among others. And just a gain of 1.
And those are two warriors right there that made that tackle. Leslie O'Neal, Marcus Patton, guys that play hard, play every down. They don't come out of the game. And I'm very impressed by both of these players, the way that they've changed their careers coming to different teams. For Leslie O'Neal, this was his last stand coming here, and he's really taken advantage of the situation. For Marcus Patton, he was a guy the Washington Redskins led him in tackles every season he was there. They let him go. Kansas City was happy to pick him up.
3rd and 6 from the 38. Gannon in the pocket, pump fake. Avoiding the pressure and throwing that sidearm delivery complete. Terry Mickens is thrown down at the 25. And they'll move the chains. Raiders get a first down. Woods and Warfield combining on that coverage on the far sideline. That's good for 14 yards.
Keep an eye on Leslie O'Neal. He's going to run inside his stunt. It is a TE stunt, tackle end. There's no place for him to go. He leaves his feet. That's the biggest mistake you can do, is leave your feet against the quarterback that can run in Rich Gannon. But this play is all Rich Gannon. His mobility, faking the run, rolling out to the side, completing the pass downfield for the first down.
Gannon spent 4 years with the Kansas City Chiefs, a very popular figure around these parts. Wheatley squeezing between the tackle and the guard on the left side and at least getting some yardage on the play. That's good work out of Wheatley for 3. Barnt and George combining on that stop. So Tyrone Wheatley waited a long time to finally get a chance in the NFL, and he was rewarded with the contract that I mentioned earlier. 3 years, $10 million. The Raiders believe in him.
When we talked to Tyrone Wheatley earlier this season, he said, I knew my time would come. I believed in myself. If I just kept working at it, if I got to the right team, things would happen for me, and it's happened for him this season.
10 carries, 50 yards for Wheatley. Off the play action, knocked down. Chester McLaughlin. And the clock stops with 3:15 left first half.
And Chester McLaughlin, the ex-Raider, was drafted by the Oakland Raiders, their first pick in 1992. Would love nothing better to have a big game to beat his old team, the Oakland Raiders, but fighting off blockers. Leslie O'Neal right in the picture, but Chester McLaughlin, that's 350 pounds getting off the ground. Look at that vertical.
You know, they list him at 323.
Oh, come on. Those are those scales where I remember on weigh-in day, you'd stick a penny into the scale, it would knock off 10 pounds, stick a nickel, it would be 18 pounds, 20 pounds.
Yeah, but you automatically tack on like 25 for every line.
Oh, you have to. There's no way that that's the true way.
On 3rd and 7. Inside shovel. Napoleon Kaufman takes it the distance. Touchdown Raiders. A 22-yard burst for Kaufman, and the Kansas City defense was completely faked out.
And they were. Here's a look at it, the end zone. Watch the left guard pull around. That's Big Steve Wisniewski in there, and it's a counter pitch. And Steve Wisniewski's out front. He chips all the way around, gets a push at the end of the play on Reggie Tongue. They caught the defense off guard. They were penetrating. All the offensive line did, step down, turn your blockers inside, let Wisniewski pull around it and lead the way. Touchdown, Oakland Raiders.
What has happened to the Chiefs? They had a 17-0 lead. Oakland with 21 unanswered points. And Kaufman has given the Raiders 21-17. Raiders leading the Chiefs with 3:09 to play in the second quarter. And momentum has completely shifted in this game. It was all Kansas City early. 2 quick scores. Then a field goal for a 17-0 advantage. Oakland has come back with 21 points of their own, and Nedney kicks it off. Joe Horn will catch it. Not cleanly, though. From the 9, and Horn trying to stumble his way forward. Down at the 14-yard line, Randy Jordan, first man to greet him. And things seemingly falling apart for KC here in the second quarter.
And Gunther Cunningham's holding his head because at this point, you've got to put somebody back there that wants to return kicks. That's the second return that he's mishandled back-to-back. Concentrate on the ball, know where it is, know where it comes down. Here he's hesitant, he's trying to look downfield. Look at the ball, catch the ball with your hands, then take off with it. Now he's looking downfield, you recover the ball first. The first thing you do as a kick returner, protect that football.
Injured left ankle for Vanover, that's why Horn's in there. Gerback avoiding the pressure. Able to find Bam Morris. And Morris gets out across the 20-yard line and very close to a first down. 9 yards, and Gerback was fortunate that he stepped up in the pocket because Eric Barton was coming.
For Elvis Gerback, he's got a lot of time on this clock to guide his team down to get a score. They still have to run, use their play action pass, do what they do best, move the chains. There's enough time on the clock to get another score before the half.
2nd and 1, play fake. Gerback forced outside, throwing to the sideline, and it's ruled incomplete. Gonzalez did make the catch, but he was out of bounds. You know, the other element with Elvis Gerback, Mark, and we've done enough Chief games this season to know, there are still a lot of people around Kansas City that don't believe that Elvis Gerback is the answer at quarterback. It seems as if he's got to prove himself every single week in this red uniform.
Well, not only that, he's in an offense that when you're ahead or when it's very close, it's easy to command this offense. But when you're behind and have to play catch-up, that's not his cup of tea.
Donnell Bennett, a bruising runner, gets to the 30-yard line, and a first down for KC as he gains 7. Glenn Parker, the left tackle, laid out a nice block for Bennett to work with. And they will run it down to the 2-minute warning. Oakland 21, Kansas City 17. The Chiefs trying to put some points up on the board before we hit halftime. 2 minutes left in the second quarter, and Oakland has the 21-17 advantage on Kansas City. Gunther Cunningham's team needs a win to get into the playoffs as either division champions if Seattle loses to the Jets or as a wild card. John Gruden told us earlier this week, obviously they want to spoil Kansas City's party, but they need a win just to get some credibility in this division. Gerback throwing, low throw, sliding down is Kevin Lockett at midfield. A clean catch and a first down for KC.
That's as pretty a catch you want to see. Elvis Gerback laid that ball in there only where Kevin Lockett could get it, but he reaches back and makes one heck of a play on the ball.
Clock is moving. 3 receivers set. Gerback throwing again. This time it's Gonzalez. Stiff arm and forced out of bounds inside the 40 at the 37. That's good for 11 yards. Charles Woodson with the tackle, but he could not bring him down initially.
Good protection by the offensive line, and Elvis Gerback operates better in a 2-minute situation than he has this entire game. But if you're ever going to get a mismatch, that's Tony Gonzalez on defensive backs. Even if he's double coverage, get him the football.
Kansas City now in business in Oakland territory. On first down, Gerback. A little too much mustard on it, and too far to the right for Tony Gonzalez, incomplete. Coming up, the NASDAQ halftime report. Jim Craig, Randy, and Jerry will get you caught up on all the scores and highlights. Plus, Greg Gumbel and Phil Simms will have a report on the Miami-Washington game. That's all coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report. And Dolphin fans are certainly interested in what's happening here today in Kansas City, because a Chiefs loss will put the Dolphins into the playoffs before they even step on the field against the Skins. On a 2nd and 10, Gerback looks to the sideline, throws to the outside. Kevin Lockett gets out of bounds just shy of the marker. That covers 9 yards. It'll be 3rd and 1 for KC. Chiefs still have 2 timeouts to work with.
What makes the play successful, Elvis Gerback looks to his right, pump fakes, and turns to his left. Kevin Lockett's wide open on the play. If you're going to play soft coverage in this situation, Elvis Gerback can complete the pass. He's got problems when you come up and press his receivers on the line of scrimmage, and he's got to force the ball in there. Sometimes he forces it into coverage.
Having by far his best drive of the day. Handoff, Tony Richardson. First down for KC. Comes up just shy of the 25. He picked up 3, and James Harris with a stop. And the Chiefs will use one of their 2 remaining timeouts, stopping the clock with 1:19 showing.
And this can change the momentum. Getting the ball, driving it downfield, having an opportunity to score points, you can retake the momentum. I think Gunther Cunningham knows that. I said it before, you've got a lot of time on the clock. Be patient, do what you do best, run the football when you have to, but protect the quarterback. They do a pretty good job protecting the quarterback of Elvis Gerback, but don't put Elvis Gerback in a situation where he has to force the ball and make a play.
A score that we will keep you updated on. Halftime, Jets leading Seattle 13-6.
And everything's right there for Kansas City to take. All they have to do is go out and win the game, and if Seattle ends up losing the game, they win the division.
Manual scoreboard from that fan. On a 1st and 10 from the 26, Gerback. Too high for Joe Horn.
Looking at that play, he had Tony Gonzalez wide open on a corner route. He's one-on-one with the safety. That's where you make the play. You pump the ball short, throw it over the top to Tony Gonzalez.
Now a 2nd and 10 for Kansas City, trailing 21-17. 1:15 on the clock left in the 2nd quarter. Tony Richardson by himself in the backfield. A 4-receiver set for Gerback to work with. Steps up and fires. He's got Gonzalez down at the 8. Anthony Newman, the strong safety, with a tackle, and Gerback uses a timeout. Just over a minute left in the first half.
And Tony Gonzalez splits the seam right in the middle of the field. He's one-on-one with his safety, and here's the situation. It's a zone, but he's back with the safety. The safety's got to help Greg Beaker. Once he lets him go, the safety has him one-on-one because he's got the deep part of the football field, but Tony Gonzalez gets by him. Elvis Gerback sees him right in the middle of the field on the post. First down.
Just 1:06 left to play until we hit halftime, and then the NASDAQ halftime report. Jim, Craig, Randy, and Jerry will have all the scores and highlights in the final weekend of the regular season in the NFL. Plus, Gumbel and Simms will have that Dolphins-Redskins preview coming up for you on the NASDAQ halftime report. This drive started at the Kansas City 14-yard line, and Gerback has looked sharp.
He has. He's executed the offense magnificently in this drive. This is the area. You're in the red zone. How do you defend Tony Gonzalez? Because if I'm a quarterback, he's my first look.
1st and goal inside the 7. Richardson is in the backfield. Gerback wants to throw it. Forced out of the pocket. Gerback throwing on the run. Too high for Lonnie Johnson. Incomplete. James Harris was the man that forced Elvis Gerback to go on the run, and he could not make the connection with Johnson, who had a couple of drops last week.
And for Elvis Gerback, if he stays in the pocket, he gets excellent protection by Donnell Bennett on the blitz. He rolls to his right. James Harris just tracks him down. He's going on an outside contain rush. Be patient in the pocket. If you don't see those white jerseys, step up and throw the ball in the end zone.
12th play of the drive on a 2nd and goal. Motion man Alexander. Gerback back to throw it. Fires to the end zone. Touchdown! Gonzalez! Chiefs regain the lead. And the slam dunk for good measure, which has become a trademark for Pro Bowler Tony Gonzalez. His 11th touchdown reception of the season.
Talked about how do you defend Tony Gonzalez. He's learned to use his big body well in tight spaces around the red area and does an outstanding job on this play. I said you've got it, stands tall and throws the ball to Elvis Grbac.
Pete Stoyanovich with a point after. Gonzalez was kept out of the end zone last week in that loss to Seattle. He gets there today, and Kansas City has the 24-21 lead.
But it all starts with protection up front. Elvis Grbac able to stand tall in the huddle. Tony Gonzalez, no one's even close to him. He's trying to be covered by Travion Smith. It's not going to happen. He's too experienced to have somebody like that cover him one-on-one, and that's a guy that's his first year in the NFL. You've got him covering a Tony Gonzalez. Ain't gonna happen. He's gonna eat him up all day long.
20th touchdown pass of the season for Elvis Grbac. On that drive, 6 of 10 throwing the football, 76 yards, and he made some good, strong throws over the middle.
He did, and not only that, made good decisions with the football in the drive, and that's key. But in the red area, I said it before, Tony Gonzalez, he knows how to use that big body, and that's key for a young tight end when you can push off and you can run routes, even a little head fake here and there to get the defender to take one step. Tony Gonzalez this year has come into his own.
Gonzalez had 3
with a stepladder.
Prove it.
A mini trampoline.
The Kansas City Chiefs now in front 24-21, and KC will kick it off. Low kick, takes a bounce, and the Raiders will have great field position out at the 40-yard line.
And this has got to be driving Gunther Cunningham absolutely bonkers.
Kickoff out of bounds on the kicking team. 30 yards from the spot of the kick. First down.
Second time today that John Baker, the former CFL kicker, has cost the Chiefs valuable field position.
And he's getting an earful for Gunther Cunningham, and he should. Here you bring a guy in, all you have to do is kick off, nothing else. We're not asking you to do anything but kick off, but twice in a big game, crucial situations, you give him excellent field position. And right here, just kick it down the middle of the field.
He shanked
it down the middle of the field. Maybe he should put a shoe on.
It's the other option.
Put a shoe on his foot.
So now Oakland with 54 seconds to work with. They give the ball to Tyrone Wheatley, and he carries a tackler on his back for a pickup of 6. Marvcus Patton with the stop at around the 46-yard line. Raiders still have 2 timeouts. Clock is moving, though, with 36 seconds left to play. Gannon. Caught by Brown. Tim Brown into Kansas City territory and inside the 35. That's good for 20 yards, and for Brown, his first catch of the afternoon. Timeout taken by Oakland.
Kansas City's floating their zone coverage over to Tim Brown. Right here, he gets hasty, turned around, he's wide open, and he gets help at the end of the play. Good spin move at the end of the play, but if you're with Tim Brown and you're covering him, you know Rich Gannon's gonna go to him with the football in a big situation, double cover him. Whatever it is, double cover him. James Hasty already has a banged up knee. He limped off the field earlier. He can't be 100%. Give him some help out there on their best receiver.
And for Tim Brown, 108 straight games with a reception. Interesting story surrounding Brown because he can become a free agent on February 1st if he decides to go that way. And a lot of grumblings out there that Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys would love to have the hometown hero.
Well, they need a big-time receiver as well as a few teams in the NFL, but Tim Brown can still bring it. Somebody that's 33 years old having the season that he had, he still has another 4 or 5 years left in the NFL.
Line of scrimmage is the 35 on a 1st and 10. Raiders are on the move. Play action. Gannon to Ritchie. John Ritchie out of bounds. He's got another first down for Oakland. That covered 12 yards with 20 seconds to play in the first half.
Tell you what, John Ritchie has been a big weapon for this offense line for the Oakland Raiders. No one's covered him. Rich Gannon looks off to the left and dumps it off to Ritchie. They don't expect him to catch the football. If he's in there, expect him to get the football. He's a big plan in their offense this afternoon. His 4th reception, 25 yards.
They still have 1 timeout to work with. Wheatley in the backfield this time with Ritchie. Brown the motion man. Line of scrimmage the 23. A flip for Wheatley. He's got some running room. Tyrone Wheatley into the end zone for the touchdown. Oh, do the Raiders strike quickly or what?
Did not waste any time. Rich Gannon sets this screen up the way you're supposed to set it up. You drop deep, you look down the field of play, turn and dump it off as soon as you can. As soon as the rush gets close to you, get rid of the football. But he has two offensive linemen out in front of him. Once the offensive linemen run to the right, the defense has to know, particularly linebackers, it's a screen, go cover it. They don't. It's easy for Tyrone Wheatley.
And all you have to do is go back to the bad kickoff from John Baker, giving the Raiders the football at their own 40-yard line. Joe Nedney with the extra point. That's a 4-play, 60-yard drive, taking up just 42 seconds. And Tyrone Wheatley with a touchdown reception to give the Raiders the lead once again, now 28-24.
And Marvus Patton blitz, Rich Gannon reads it, turns and dumps it off. The blocking out in front, they don't even have to block, it's a hand block. No, he doesn't even get a block, he just runs through it, and that's all Tyrone Wheatley. He's got two blockers out in front of him, and Gianardo Napoli and Barrett Robbins the center, Napoli and Barrett Robbins the center, but none of them block anybody. He doesn't need the blockers. They just run a shield on the right, a hand block there, just runs through everything else, scores a touchdown.
3 touchdown passes now for Gannon. Now, we mentioned the Baker kick. Keep in mind, previous possession, Raiders did not convert on a 3rd down, and Derek Thomas was called on the penalty running into the punter. That allowed Oakland to keep that drive alive, and they got a touchdown off of that.
And mistakes have cost him. You're absolutely right. That mistake cost him, and then the bad kick cost him. Hey, I go to Pete Stoyanovich. He may not kick it long, but you know if you tell him to keep it on the field, he'll keep it in between the hash marks.
Tamarick Vanover has returned for Kansas City.
Pulling out all the stops. You've got to, at this point, you've got to get everybody in there. If you're limping a little bit, hey, tape a Band-Aid on it, get out there and play.
Joe Horn was struggling on kick returns. Vanover injured the left ankle earlier. This will be a low squibber. Take a bounce to an up man, Greg Minuski. And out at the 40-yard line with just 10 seconds to play in the first half. Don't forget, the NASDAQ halftime report is coming up next. Jim, Craig, Randy, and Jerry will get you caught up on the scores and highlights. And a preview for games that we have seen already, and one half isn't even complete. On a handoff, Tony Richardson. But the last time these two teams played, it was pretty bizarre as well, with Kansas City scoring 17 points in the 4th quarter to come back for the victory. John Gruden, though, feeling pretty good about his team right now. The Kansas City Chiefs wondering if they can put it together and make a run in the second half to go to the playoffs.
Of all the injuries on the offense of the Oakland Raiders, but they haven't been able to do that.
Gunther Cunningham, that had to have been a spirited halftime chat with his team.
I've been in some of those. There are a bunch of chairs kicked over, tables, things thrown against the wall, but he's got to get this team mentally ready to fight. This is a fight. For the next 2 quarters, you're in a fight. If you want to get to the playoffs, you've got to go out there and you have to take it.
30 minutes of football to decide whether or not Kansas City's season will continue. The Oakland Raiders throughout the 90s just couldn't beat this Kansas City team. Well, it's a new millennium. Maybe a new start for the Raiders as Nedney kicks it off. Vanover from the 10. Here's Vanover bouncing off a tackle. Tamarick Vanover is brought down from behind at the 29 by Bobby Brooks on special teams. Halftime numbers with the Raiders in front 28-24, and offensively there's really not much to speak of for Kansas City because of those early scores coming on special teams and on defense. Elvis Gerbach, though, on their final drive did finally get into a rhythm.
And that's momentum that they've got to carry over offensively to the second half. If they're going to win this football game, they've got to put a lot of points up offensively because their defense hasn't been able to stop the Oakland Raiders.
On a rollout, Gerbach throwing. Gonzalez makes the catch. Tony Gonzalez at the 40-yard line, 11 yards. And a first down for Kansas City. That is his 5th catch of the day.
That's confidence in your tight end. He's covered by 2 defenders, finding a way to get it to him. He forced it in there a little bit, but Tony Gonzalez came back for the football. That's just a mindset. Tamarick Vanover comes out, runs over a couple of people on the kick return. They come out the first play, get the ball to Tony Gonzalez. They're going to their bread and butter.
1st and 10 now. Handoff goes to Bam Morris. Remaining on his feet as he takes it just about to midfield. 9 yards straight up the middle, and Tony Richardson gave him a good block to work with. It'll be 2nd and short.
And I said it was a mindset. They came out with a different mentality in the second half. Thus far, the first couple of plays, it looks like they're going to take it to the Oakland Raiders. They're not going to sit back and make somebody else take a play. Gunther Cunningham probably told them at halftime, every one of you reach down. I want your best in the second half, and every one of you make a play on every snap.
2nd and 1 from the 49. Inside handoff. Richardson struggling to get to the outside. Richardson, great second effort for the first down into Oakland territory. It went from no gain to a pickup of 2. Darrell Russell had a chance to bring him down initially and hold him shy of the first down marker.
And this is what I was talking about, not being denied. Give everything you've got. He should have been tackled for the loss right there. He spins out of it. He fights through it. Charles Woodson has a chance to bring him down. He can't bring him down. It takes 3, 4, 5 guys to get him on the ground. Tony Richardson saying, I'm going to do it myself.
First down at the 48 of Oakland. Pitch. Morris hits the hole hard and picks up a couple. A gain of 1, maybe 1.5, as Eric Barton made the stop. The last meeting between these two teams, November 28th. Kansas City with a 37-34 victory in Oakland. They scored 17 fourth quarter points to come from behind, and John Gruden's team really never recovered from that. They've been so inconsistent. A couple of weeks ago, the Raiders dominated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 45-0, but then last week they get beat by San Diego 23-20. On 2nd and 8, Gerback buying some extra time and throws it away. Lance Johnstone was applying the pressure, and some words exchanged following the play.
You're going to have that in a big game like this with so much at stake, everyone laying it on the line. But Elvis Gerback had excellent protection. The secondary of the Oakland Raiders did a fantastic job of covering the wide receivers, but it's all emotion. This game's about emotion at the end of the play. Elvis Gerback trying to make a play. Lance Johnstone at the end of the play brings them down. They roll out of bounds off the field, but he brings them down on the field of play. No reason for Lance Johnstone to do that. There's no way he should push Elvis Gerback. That should be a penalty on the defense.
No flags as the officials letting these two teams play. On a 3rd and 8 for Kansas City. Gerback will throw it. Timing pattern. Sideline throw. Over the head of Alexander, who was matched up with Eric Allen. Incomplete.
And this is a big matchup between these two. Eric Allen last week against Jim Harbaugh, the San Diego Chargers took advantage of him, threw some bombs on him. They're taking their shot here. He goes the wrong way. He looks inside, the ball's thrown outside. They need to get on the same page where he lines up. If he's going to break it to the outside, he's got to make his move to the outside to get the football.
Punting problems today for Kansas City with Darian Gordon standing at his own 10. Low snap from Tam. And Pope gets it off. It's a high punt. They'll take a bounce in the end zone. So a 46-yard punt, but a net of only 26, and you have to look at the net in that situation. Raiders, first possession, second half. Kansas City defense has not lived up to its reputation today. This is Oakland's first offensive possession of the second half, and they have it a 1st and 10 at their own 20. Wheatley in the backfield with Ritchie. Gannon on a handoff. Wheatley is met quickly, but does move forward for a pickup of 2. Jerome Woods was able to fire in and clog up the hole.
This offense has been able to spread it out, as you see I am right here, but most of it to the running backs. Their big plays have been on the running backs on screens or dump off to the fullback and John Ritchie, but that's the West Coast offense of getting rid of the football as fast as you can. Dump it off to your backs, short pass, long gain.
All 3 touchdown receptions have come from running backs here today for Oakland. Brown, the motion man, on 2nd and 8. Play fake. Gannon, sidearm throw. Out of the reach of Terry Mickens. Incomplete. Talk about Rich Gannon coming back into Kansas City, where former chief quarterbacks have not had success going against their one-time team. A combined record of 1-10 if you're a former chief quarterback going against Kansas City later in your career.
That's the one week you want to have the flu when you face this Kansas City Chiefs team, but this is a big down. The crowd's into it. The offensive line, particularly the tackles, you're so far away from the quarterback, you have to concentrate on the snap count in the football.
And this crowd is getting charged up. The play clock is down to 2. Handoff, Kaufman, nowhere to run. And the Kansas City defense has opened strong here in the third quarter. As the Raiders go 3 and out, Edwards combining with McLaughlin to make that tackle. And Gunther Cunningham relying on that bread and butter, what he knows.
Make the play in Donnie Edwards.
Aragoose, short punt. Takes a bounce out to the 37-yard line. So Kansas City with good field position after the 39-yard punt from Aragoose. 28-24. Oakland. The Kansas City Chiefs have won 18 of their last 20 against the Oakland Raiders. All of those games in the 90s. These aren't the 90s anymore, and Oakland now has the 28-24 advantage. 1st and 10 for KC. Gerbach throwing, broken up. Eric Allen stepping in front of Derek Alexander.
I wonder where Elvis Gerbach was throwing that football. He never looked. He looked to the right and turned and just threw the football. And right here, he's not on the same page with Derek Alexander. Ball should have never been thrown. He's very lucky that Eric Allen just went for the knockdown instead of the pick.
And with each second that goes by, the pressure mounts on Elvis Gerbach. Can he be the leader of this team? Can he get this club to the playoffs? Trying to run inside. Bam Morris lost the football. Eric Allen trampled on it, and the Raiders have it. At the 37-yard line, Allen comes away with the fumble recovery.
And Bam Morris is experienced enough. Once you are in a ton of traffic with the football, 2 hands. He can't hold on to the football. He's got to protect the football. James Harris gives him a lick, knocks it out. The ball's on the ground. Right, open, easy. Eric Allen picks it up. Everybody's going to get Bam Morris and knock him around. They don't even look for the ball on the ground.
And the disgust in Gunther Cunningham's face. It's right there for the taking. You win and you're in. With the Raiders have the lead in the football. Napoleon Kaufman brought down right at the line of scrimmage, maybe even a loss. Marcus Patton. It is a loss of 1.
And this is filling the gap. Marcus Patton looks for the ball, fills the hole on the backside, one-on-one, bam, right there head-to-head, excellent one-on-one tackle.
Will it have to be the Kansas City defense that goes out there and does the job and gets this team into the postseason?
The way their offense is playing, I believe it has to be. I believe you're correct. They've got to come up with a big play. They've got to create turnovers.
2nd and 11. Mickens in motion. Here's Gannon. Off the hands of Kaufman and almost intercepted. Jerome Woods made a dive at it. It goes down as incomplete.
And it's plays like this, you know the brakes are not going your way. When a ball is floating in the air like this, thrown behind the running back, it's tipped in the air, those are the plays you make interceptions. Those are the plays the Kansas City Chiefs defense have thrived on the entire season, creating opportunities or making something out of somebody else's misfortune.
3rd and 11. Gannon. In trouble. Twirled down for the sack. Tom Bart. Kansas City has its 3rd sack of the day. None bigger than that one, and Bart able to break free to bring down his former teammate.
And Tom Bart has to think Eric Hicks. He beats the tackle around the corner. Daryl Ashmore right here, one-on-one, gets a great jump on the ball, forces Rich Gannon to move out of the pocket. They're around the corner, and Tom Bart's got the middle. His job is to protect the middle. If Rich Gannon steps up, sack him.
Aragoose laces into this one. Vanover allows it to bounce. Raiders trying to save it. And they do. Inside the 5. Great job by Kenny Shedd, leaving his feet to knock the ball back out of the end zone. And the Chiefs are pinned back in their own territory, trailing 28-24 in the 3rd. 24, Oakland has the lead. How do you last 5 years in the NFL without a big name? Make an impact on special teams like Kenny Shedd.
And that's just showing his athleticism. And there's been one key to this game: special teams. The Oakland Raiders have played tremendously well on special teams against the Kansas City Chiefs. One big play by the Chiefs. That's been it for the Kansas City Chiefs special teams.
Donnell Bennett running inside as he gained 2. And Kenny Shedd watching from the sidelines as he was the man responsible for keeping Kansas City deep in their own territory. This is a 2nd and 8. Line of scrimmage is the 4. Double tight end set. Going to try to bang the ball out of there. They can't do it. The Oakland Raiders defense responds. Grady Jackson leading the way, but just about everybody else helped out on the play. And the line of scrimmage will be just shy of the 2-yard line.
Now, and this is an area you've got to take a chance. You've already run it on 1st down. You didn't make very much yardage. On 2nd down, what you've got to do, play action pass, take your shot downfield, get somebody matched up, one-on-one on the outside, either Rising or Alexander, and get positive yardage. Now your back's against the wall. You've got to get yards on this play.
Here's 3rd and 10. Draw play. Donnell Bennett. 1st down, Kansas City at the 29. Pressure moments. And a pressure performance for Bennett on the draw. Everybody knew it was coming on the ground. You don't want to risk going back to pass from your own end zone.
But everybody but the Oakland Raiders, they spread the offense out. Kansas City does, and there's nobody in the middle of the field. Great job of blocking by the offensive line. Straight ahead running by Donnell Bennett. 1st down, the Kansas City Chiefs. The job is done by the offensive line, fanning everybody on the defense to the outside.
27-yard run. Bennett again pushing tacklers away as he gets to the 40-yard line. That's an 11-yard hard run up the middle. And a fresh set of downs for Kansas City to work with.
Nice blocking by the offensive line. At the end of the play, you see big old Dave Zott. He really wants it. Down the field, 15 yards down the field, diving over the pile, trying to make something happen. That's what you have to do in this situation as a player. Make something happen yourself. Give the extra block. Don't be satisfied with 1. Be satisfied with 2 or 3.
1st and 10 from the 40. Bennett. He just keeps on coming. That's a gain of 8. Grunhard and Shields with the blocks there, and Gonzalez is being pushed back. Bad blood between these teams through the years, and now with everything on the line for Kansas City, you know that tempers will flare.
Tony Gonzalez just blocking at the end of the play. That's going after between both players, but right at the end of the play, here's a little forearm right at the bottom of the play, and guys fighting, sticking their hands in each other's face. These are players that want it. So much at stake, they're going to do whatever it takes to get a victory, and there's going to be a fight at the end of this game. They're going to fight to win. Not a fist fight, but a football fight, getting after each other.
This drive has been all Bennett. Now Richardson will get a chance, and the running game is just working. 4 yards on the play of 1st down for KC. Let's get an NFL Today report and Jim Nantz.
Ian, Indianapolis's 11-game win streak certainly looks like it might come to a close today. Rob Johnson to Collins, 22-point Buffalo lead. Flutie being rested today, but Rob Johnson has been hot. Over 200 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, misfired only 5 times. Let's go back to Ian and Mark.
Well, a lot of people around the league believe that Rob Johnson would be the starter for the majority of the teams around the NFL right now, but he's a backup to Doug Flutie. Have to look at the context. Play fake. Gerback. Throwing. Knocked down by Allen. Once again, Allen was matched up with Alexander. And Allen breaks it up, the veteran.
And they're only sending 2 people out on the routes in this play. Derek Alexander has a step on him, but the ball's just not thrown over Eric Allen. It allows him to make a play on this football, and he closes on the football.
If it is thrown above Allen, that's 6.
That is. It's nobody back there to protect against it. And I think Elvis Gerback knows that. He has not been precise with his passes this afternoon. He's the one that has to step up and make a play.
First 6 plays of the drive resulted in 50 yards, all rushing. He'll go back to the ground game. Bennett. Down at the 38-yard line and very close to a 1st down. The tight end, Tony Gonzalez, laying out a block to spring Bennett. And Kansas City just running the football down Oakland's throat right now.
And Donnell Bennett's picked up the pace for this offense along with the offensive line. They're relying on the guys up front to make plays, make your blocks, and run the ball with Donnell Bennett. And they've had success. Stay with what is making you work offensively. Run the football.
Throw into the mix that the Jets are leading Seattle 16-9. And a first down run for Bennett. Just needed a yard. He picked up 3.
And you got to ride this horse till he makes a break in Donnell Bennett. Keep feeding him the football. As the next player, an offensive lineman, when you're running the ball like this and having success, you look across your opponent and say, hey, the ball's coming right here. Stop us. That's what the Chiefs are doing. They're running Donnell Bennett saying, hey, we're going to continue to run him till you stop him.
4.5 to play in the third. Oakland 28, Kansas City 24. Chiefs driving with a 1st and 10 at the Oakland 36. Bennett by himself. Play fake. Gerback airing it out. Down the sideline for Rison. Incomplete. Charles Mincy came over to help. Allen was there initially one-on-one, but the safety ranged over, and Rison ended up in double coverage.
Andre Rison on the outside. One thing the Raiders defensive backs have had success today against the play action pass. They're not biting on the run. They're a little late coming up and stopping the run, but they're not going to get beat deep on routes on play action passes.
5 straight incompletions for Elvis Gerback, but a long drive here for the Chiefs at a 2nd and 10. Richardson. Tony Richardson. Just shy of the 25-yard line. Tony Gonzalez with another block, and Richardson used it well.
Forget the play action pass, stay on the ground. They run their counter game. I didn't think Tony Richardson was patient enough in waiting for his blockers. He ran by his blockers on this play, pulling left guard Will Shields, left tackle Victor Riley. Wait for your blocks to set up. Then he makes his cut back to the inside, and he takes the honest on his own and picks up positive yardage, and it looks close to a first down.
Looks to be enough.
That's power running. If you're going to run between the tackles with those big backs, punish the defense.
It is enough by the length of the football. Tony Richardson, who has had to change his preparation for these games because he was
to run the football, give me an opportunity, and I'll carry the load, and he has the last few weeks.
73 yards on this drive, all on the ground. They're looking for more. Richardson losing up the middle. Down to the 15-yard line. That looks to be enough for another Kansas City first down. And every time, the officials now have to step in and break up potential fights.
This is a power roll. You block down with the left side, you pull around big Will Shields, and Tony Richardson barrels through the middle of the defense. Shortest way to the goal line and first down, straight ahead. Tony Richardson's a big fullback. He knows that. There are holes in the middle of the defense. That's your chance to take advantage of it. Now Richardson. It's the 1-2 punch. Now you get the second part of the punch.
7 carries for Richardson, 65 yards. Now he's on the sideline. Bennett is in there. Play action. Gerback throwing to the end zone. Caught! Joe Horn's got it. Touchdown! Kansas City in front. A long drive that started out at their own 2-yard line. The first 83 yards of this drive came on the ground. The final 15, and the most important, in the end, through the air.
Absolutely, but punishing the defense with the blocking of the offensive line in the run game, and Joe Horn pushing off at the end, coming up with a touchdown reception.
Pete Stoyanovich with the extra point. The Kansas City Chiefs get the go-ahead score for Kansas City, but was Joe Horn in?
Nice deep crossing route. He pushes off Charles Mincy right there to catch the football, but I want you to keep an eye on his right foot. We're going to see another replay. Watch his right foot come down with the football. Bingo. Looks like he's out.
Oakland decided not to challenge, so the play stands, and Baker does a much better job on this kickoff. Here's Kaufman from the 6. Looks for an opening. And Napoleon Kaufman gets out across the 30-yard line. Kansas City. They get the dance from the man they call Hollywood, Joe Horn. 6:23 off the clock, and fan man here, 16-9, Jets leading Seattle. Hey, where's the fourth quarter? You got to indicate what quarter it's in, guy. 1st and 10 now for Oakland. Once again, good field position. Line of scrimmage, the 32. Gannett on a slant and a big gainer. Tim Brown finally brought down at the 26-yard line. Just when you think momentum has swung one way, it goes back the other.
All it takes is one play to hit Tim Brown on the slant. Watch it right here. One-on-one, just makes his move, comes across the field, hits it, boom, take it up the field to play, make positive yardage. Let him catch you. Tim Brown, an outstanding year, and he's had big games against this team each and every game. He averages 97 yards a game and 7 receptions in the last 8 versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
But his teams don't usually win. Wheatley, hurdling, Tyrone Wheatley, trying to cut it to the outside. Wheatley remains on his feet. Wheatley won't go down. Wow. Touchdown, Raiders! Incredible. What a shift of emotions. John Gruden at one moment upset that his defense could not clamp down on the Kansas City offense, and at the very next moment, elated. And vice versa for Gunther Cunningham.
And just 2 plays back-to-back, but Tyrone Wheatley does all of this on his own. A simple dive play right up the gut. Stays with it and will not be denied.
He got pushed the final 4 yards of that run as Joe Nedney kicks through the extra point. 35-31, Oakland.
But right here, fighting for extra yardage, right through the middle. Gets going through the middle without being touched, but makes the move to the outside. Right here, breaks through a tackle, breaks through another tackle. He's not going to go down. He's not going to be denied. Gets pushed into the end zone. Look at the push right there by Mickens. 1, Ashmore 2, just pushing the pile into the end zone. And that is a heck of a job of running the football, going through the middle, making something happen, going through tacklers, not going down. You can't ask for anything more. That's fight and determination and bullying yourself in the end zone, not being denied by this offense.
Think the Raiders are playing for something?
Oh, playing for pride, and that's key. A team that can come back and play for pride, and that's what the Raiders wanted. We talked to John Gruden. He said, we're trying to build something here for the future.
John Gruden told us this has to be a statement game for this team. Above and beyond keeping Kansas City out of the playoffs, the question for him is, how does a win help us? We know that a loss hurts them, but does a win help us springboard into the 2000 football season, feeling good about ourselves as if we did something in 1999-2000? Not
only that, Ian, what he said is we've got to go through the Chiefs to go through the AFC West. If we can't beat the Chiefs, we can't do anything in the AFC West.
Tamarek Vanover crossing the 30-yard line. And the Kansas City offense is put on the field. Now trailing 35-31. Gunther Cunningham. It's been like a pendulum. He has worked so hard. He has poured his heart and soul into this team, getting the opportunity to be a head coach in the NFL for the first time in his life. And the playoff spot is there. They can taste it. Gerback, play action. Over the middle. Alexander at midfield. Big play after big play. 18 yards. The line of scrimmage will be just shy of the Oakland 49.
And a great job of Derek Alexander of reading the zone. He goes down and in. Once they play off, he finds a soft spot in the zone, runs off the safety, turns, plants, comes back and looks for the ball. That's an outstanding job between quarterback Elvis Gerback and his wide receiver Derek Alexander. They're finally on the same page as quarterback wide receiver.
Go back to the running game now. Donnell Bennett hit initially and brought down very quickly. No gain on the play. Lance Johnstone, first man there, and then the Raiders were able to finish him off. Greg Beaker. It'll be 2nd and 10 with just under a minute now left in the third quarter.
And so far in this game, I'm surprised there hasn't been a reverse pass because of the pursuit of both defenses. They're attacking the quarterback. They're going after the football. To get a big play on either one of these defenses, I think you have to use a little trickery today.
Off of play action, Gerback finds Bennett. No gain, though, on the play. Lance Johnstone, the tackle, getting out to the sideline to make the stop. Down to 30 seconds left in the third. And Johnstone has been pumped throughout. Had 11 sacks last season, has 10 this season thanks to a 3-sack performance last week in the loss to San Diego.
And he's another guy that you don't hear a lot about in the NFL, along with Greg Biekert, that he's had 2 back-to-back double-digit sack seasons, and he's a heck of a pass rusher, somebody you're going to hear a lot more about.
Should be the final play of the quarter. Underneath, Tony Richardson cannot break free of Biekert. A loss on the play as the Kansas City offense stalls. That's the end of the third quarter with the score: Oakland 35, Kansas City 31. What a game it's been. We'll return to Arrowhead after this message and a word from your local station. Start of the fourth quarter here in Kansas City. Iron Eagle, Mark May, our entire CBS crew. With Oakland leading at 35-31, Daniel Pope gets it away cleanly. Darian Gordon fields at the 16. Gordon straight ahead to the 30-yard line, and again the Raiders with good field position as Greg Minuski made the tackle right around the 32. Al Davis, he would like nothing more than to spoil the playoffs for Kansas City. Raiders cannot finish with a winning record this year. The best they can do is finish at 500 at 8-8 with a win. And you know, for him, these matchups always become a thorn in his side because of what the Chiefs have done to the Raiders in recent years.
And the pride that Al Davis and this organization has, but losing 18 out of the last 20, that's something that the Raiders just cannot stomach, particularly Al Davis.
Utter dominance. 1st and 10. Gannon, the former Chief, able to dump it off for Wheatley, and he's brought down at the 35-yard line for a pickup of 1, maybe 2. Chris Dishman makes the tackle.
That's the first time this afternoon that the Kansas City defense has played the screen well. The Oakland offense has done an outstanding job of executing the screen play against this defense for big yardage and a touchdown. But that's the first time they were able to go down the keyboard, the defensive line, play the line of scrimmage, and attack the football when it's dumped off to a running back.
Rich Gannon played for the Chiefs 4 years, decided to take the money that Oakland was offering. 4 years, $16 million. Play fake. Gannon knocked up in the air. Incomplete. Patton didn't see it. Want to welcome those of you who have been watching Buffalo, Indianapolis. Here in Kansas City, Oakland leads at 35-31. Chiefs with a win get into the playoffs, either as division champions or as a wild card. It's been back and forth after Kansas City got off to such a strong start in the early going with 2 quick touchdowns. One from a punt return to Mark Vanover. The other, a James Hasty interception that went back, but Oakland battled back, and they now lead at 35-31. Raiders facing a 3rd and 8, 4-receiver set. On a rollout, again a flip. Kaufman couldn't cut it back. Kansas City's defense was ready. That pass hurt them earlier, and Kaufman took it in for a touchdown earlier. But this time, Marcus Patton was prepared.
And the defense was prepared for the shuttle pass. Not only Marcus Patton, but the defensive lineman, Barnt, Leslie O'Neal, Chester McLaughlin. They were able to stuff the offensive line of the Oakland Raiders and not let them have a seam so the running back could run through. And that's what they have to do. They've got to stay on the line of scrimmage and stuff the offensive line. They've been pushed back the entire afternoon by the front 5 of the Oakland Raiders, and now they're trying to turn the tide against the offensive line of Oakland.
Kaufman needs some help to get off the field as Patton made the hit. Great pursuit by Patton to stay with Kaufman, who is so shifty. A loss of 2.
Now, I believe that guy right there, Marcus Patton's one of the best tacklers in the NFL. He does not miss an opportunity when it comes to tackling someone with a football.
Leo Aragoose. He'll punt it away for Oakland with Tamarek Vanover standing at his own 20. Vanover busted one earlier and put Kansas City on the board before their offense even took the field. Goose. A high punt. Vanover forced to backpedal. Catching at the 16. Flag down on the play. Weaving through traffic, and Vanover is brought down at the 34-yard line by Eric Barton. A 51-yard punt, 17-yard return. But we will hear from Walt Coleman because of the flag on the near sideline back at Oakland territory at the 32. It's against Kansas City. The fourth quarter. Front with 13:22 to play in the fourth quarter. You see the scoring by quarters. Chiefs got off to the great start, but Oakland bounced back in that second quarter. Since then, it's been a standstill. Both teams going back and forth. Donnell Bennett able to get it out to the 9-yard line for a gain of 1, and Greg Biekert in on another stop for Oakland. Get the most in-depth analysis on NFL matchups in the Matchup Breakdown. Plus, check out the complete playoff scenario. Just click on NFL at cbs.sportsline.com. John Tate is coming to the game on the offensive line, left tackle for Kansas City on a 2nd and 9. Draw play, Bennett again. And Donnell Bennett is unable to find an opening. Chuck Osborne. Haven't called his name much today, but he makes a big play here in the fourth. And now Kansas City faces a 3rd and 10.
Now in this situation, Elvis Grbac hasn't been very successful today. 13 of 29 passes. That's not what this team is all about. Offensively, they want to pound the football. Jimmy Ray, the offensive coordinator, told me if Elvis Grbac has to throw the ball in the 30s or higher, they're going to have problems offensively. They don't want to get into a scoring track meet with an opponent.
They'll throw it here. Grbac, sideline throw. Leaping attempt and a catch by Horn. First down at around the 37-yard line. He was battling one-on-one with Charles Woodson, the Pro Bowler.
Joe Horn challenging Charles Woodson. A lot of people in this NFL league have not challenged him one-on-one. It's a little out and up. The double move got him. Now it's jump fight for the football. Joe Horn does. Makes a spectacular catch, comes down with the ball. But what got Charles Woodson was the out and up move. The double move usually gets a cornerback every time. It releases you earlier so you can get an additional step on the corner.
A 30-yard pass and catch. Here's Bennett trying to get through the middle, and again, Oakland is right there, holding him to no gain. Eric Barton and Greg Biekert combining.
Greg Biekert's been all over the field the entire football game, but on first down, what they're doing, they're cheating their linebackers up a step because they know Kansas City's going to run the ball. They're taking a percentage at it that if they're going to run the ball on first down, we're going to make big plays, and both linebackers fill the void and make the play.
Looked like a hole was there just for a moment and then closed up very quickly. Now on a 2nd and 10. Bennett, this time he does find a hole as he gets to the 40-yard line, and he picks up 4 yards. Anthony Newman, first man there to make the stop. And the clock is moving with 10:50 and counting left in the fourth quarter.
And the Kansas City offense does a good job in their packages. They bring in certain packages for certain backs, and they've schemed it this way the entire season. And they're not going away from their game plan. Gunther Cunningham, offensive coordinator Jimmy Ray, they know what they're going to do. They're going to stick to their fundamentals, what they do best, and their packages they will keep with them, and they'll have success with them.
On a pitch, Richardson looking for a block. And unable to get to the marker, he's spilled out at the 45-yard line by Grady Jackson. They needed 6, and they picked up about 4, and they go the conservative route on 3rd down.
Now that's a big man right there, 6'2", 325. Are you kidding me? He's got to be 350 plus, but he can motor. Keep an eye on number 90, Grady Jackson. Go down the keyboard, down the line of scrimmage. He turns the jets on and runs down Tony Richardson. That's about a 30-yard run by a 350-pounder.
Daniel Pope had a punt blocked earlier. Darian Gordon. No fair catch signal. And an unwise move. He's brought down inside the 10, a 43-yard punt. They'll rely on their defense as they have all year. Both at 9 and 6. If both teams came out of today with victories, then both were going to the playoffs. Kansas City can still win the division if the Jets knocked off Seattle. And the Jets leading the Seahawks 16-9 with 4.5 to play in the fourth quarter. It's all lined up for Gunther Cunningham's team. Get a win, and you're in the playoffs. A loss, and you're on the outside looking in. Oakland with a first down. From their own 10. Napoleon Kaufman. Brought down at the 5 by Hasty. A loss of 5 on first down.
And that is a key play by James Hasty. He left the game early with a knee injury, but he reads the play. He's playing off, but now he attacks the line of scrimmage. He's got Kaufman one-on-one and brings him down, a one-on-one tackle. A perfect play by James Hasty.
Kansas City's defense, the best turnover ratio in the NFL this season at plus 20 entering play. They make big plays. They've been doing it all year. Wheatley is now in the backfield. Brown in motion on a 2nd and 15. Gannon on a dump off for Ritchie, and good pursuit once again by Kansas City. Derek Thomas, who has become a better all-around linebacker this season, not just a pass rusher.
And he proved it on that play. He had the fullback John Ritchie in coverage. John Ritchie's done a great job today of catching the ball in the backfield, making big plays for the offense. But here, Derek Thomas comes up with a big play, drops off in coverage, and sprints to the ball and makes the tackle on Ritchie one-on-one.
Raiders are trying to win in Kansas City for the first time since 1988. Fans on their feet at Arrowhead. A packed house on a 3rd and 12 for Oakland. From the 8. Gannon, the former Chief, under a rush. Gannon floats one. Incomplete. Kenny Shedd was in the area, but the Kansas City defense has forced the Raiders to a 3 and out.
And Rich Gannon's very lucky he's not sacked for a safety on this play. They run a stunt up front. Donnie Edwards comes clean, gets through the gap, and puts pressure on Rich Gannon, forcing him to throw the ball deep, but one step further, and it's a sack on Rich Gannon. It's a great job of Gannon of just getting rid of the football.
Vanover returned one earlier, 84 yards for the score. Off the foot of Aragoose. Vanover ranging to his right. Trying to cut it back, middle of the field, into Oakland territory, and down at the 41. 44-yard punt, a 12-yard return for Vanover. And Kansas City trailing 35-31, but they've got great field position. A face mask has been called on Oakland. What do you do here?
I take the ball right now. You've got excellent field position. You're inside their territory. Take the football.
I want to welcome those of you who have been watching New England and Baltimore. Here in Kansas City, Oakland in front of the Chiefs, 35-31, with an even 8 minutes to play.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask. Number 34 of the kicking team. Penalties declined. First down.
Face mask was called on the punt, but Kansas City, after the turn of Tamarick Vanover, will take the field position, which will be the Oakland 41. Jermaine Williams was the man called on the face mask, but it has been turned down.
And you've got great field position. Now you can operate your offense, which is pound the football with the run and go with the play-action pass. You've got a lot of time on the clock. You don't need a quick score. You can be very patient as an offense and execute your offense.
1st and 10 now for Kansas City at the 41. Handoff. Mike Cloud getting his first carry of the day, and it's good for a yard up the middle. I want to welcome those of you who have been watching Cincinnati and Jacksonville. Oakland in front of Kansas City, 35-31, with under 8 minutes to play here in the 4th. The Chiefs, with a win, are in the playoffs. A loss, and they're out. Look at the game summary. It's been back and forth. Kansas City seemingly in control early in this game. Oakland came storming back. Play action. Gerback throws it deep. Wide open. Separation. Kevin Lockett. Touchdown Chiefs. Kansas City has regained the lead. Elvis Grbac with his third touchdown of the day, and this time he finds Kevin Lockett for the go-ahead score. Pete Stoyanovich the extra point. And a flag down on the point after.
Holding. Offense number 83. 10 yards. A re-kick.
On the first point after try. But Stoyanovich makes good on the second attempt. Kansas City with a playoff spot on the line, leading Oakland 38-35 in the fourth. Go ahead. 38-35, Chiefs leading it. Every fan inside this stadium on their feet following that Elvis Grbac touchdown pass to Kevin Lockett. So many questions about Grbac and his leadership ability. Could he bring this team to the playoffs? Could he stay healthy for an entire year? He's trying to answer those questions now. Baker on the kickoff. He's had some problems today. Kaufman mishandles it initially. Now here's Kaufman trying to nudge forward, and he's pushed back at the 23-yard line. Ron George with a tackle along with Mislowski.
Keep an eye on the head right here of Charles Mincy looking inside. He's a safety. He's got deep outside help. But watch Kevin Lockett. He runs by Eric Allen. He's expecting help. But Mincy's looking at the play. He turns too late. By the time he turns to cover Lockett, he's by him, and it's a touchdown. Right here again, one-on-one. Eric Allen's expecting help. He lets him go cleanly. He's looking inside. But it's the speed of Kevin Lockett and the ability of Elvis Grbac to put the ball right on the money.
The Kansas City defense trying to hold on here with 7:12 left in the fourth, and flags come flying from every angle. Was it Barry Sims, the left tackle?
Prior to the snap, false start, 65, offense, 5 yards, field first down.
It was.
And those backup tackles are going to play a key role in the stretch drive of this game, because now it's the pressure situation. The crowd is loud. You can't hear your quarterback. You've got to concentrate on the play. It's a big-time environment. You've got backups in there. You've got to take the ball down and score to win the game. The pressure's on both of those tackles, and Barry Sims and Daryl Ashmore, to keep their composure and concentrate and protect their quarterback, Rich Gannon.
No Mo Collins out with a knee injury. No Lincoln Kennedy out with a calf injury. Can these Raiders offensive players even hear? Gannon throwing off the fingers of Wheatley. He was turned around the wrong way, and Jerome Woods came in just to make sure that it was incomplete. Stops the clock with 7:08 left in the fourth. AFC playoff picture. Jacksonville at 14-2. They have clinched home field advantage. Kansas City and Seattle right now trying to win to get in. And the Seahawks having their problems with the Jets. 19-9 now in the fourth quarter. A Kansas City victory, and they've got the AFC West Championship if the Jets knock off the Seahawks. 2nd and 15. Gannon. Incomplete. Ritchie, the intended receiver. And Chester McLaughlin, the former Raider, came in to give a lick to Gannon.
The defensive front of Kansas City, it's to their advantage. Chester McLaughlin collapses the pocket. Just keep pushing the middle of the pile. He comes around on a stunt and just pushes back into quarterback Rich Gannon. But right now, as an offensive player, you cannot hear. You can't hear the player next to you. The defense has the advantage. You know the snap count, but that's not an advantage anymore, because you have to move when the player next to you moves.
3rd and 15. On 3rd down, Gannon throwing, incomplete. Kansas City's defense has once again come up big. We want to welcome those of you who've been watching the Seahawks and the Jets. 19-9, New York has defeated Seattle.
In Kansas City right now, Ian knows they win the game. They not only get to the playoffs, but they win the AFC West division. This is the time where your offense has to take control, your offensive line. You've got to be able to run the ball, take time off the clock, and put points on the board, and it's all yours for the taking.
High punt for Aragoose from the 42. Vanover trying to circle to the outside. runs into a crowd at the 48, and Randy Jordan was the first man there on special teams. 6-yard return. Kansas City in control of its own destiny, leading 38-35.
Technology that's making life a little better all the time. And by Honda, a winning lineup of cars, sport utility vehicles, and minivans.
A must-win situation for the Kansas City Chiefs as they lead Oakland 38-35 with 6:47 to play in the fourth. Ian Eagle, Mark May, our entire CBS crew on hand at Arrowhead. Handoff to Donnell Bennett going up the middle. Into Oakland territory and brought down at the 47-yard line, a gain of 4. It has been a wild game from the very start. And Kansas City can now see the light at the end of the tunnel. The Miami Dolphins are now in the playoffs thanks to the Jets' victory over Seattle. So the Jets do a favor for their division rivals, the Dolphins. Now it comes down 2 teams, 1 spot available. Chiefs, Seahawks. Kansas City wins, they're in. Kansas City loses, Seattle's in. 2nd and 6. Bennett again. To the 45, a gain of 2. Greg Biekert the tackle.
Now, and this is the part of the game where you hang your hat on your offensive line and get the ball to Tony Gonzalez. Run the ball, pound the ball, and get it to your tight end with short intermediate passes. You don't need to stretch this defense anymore. If you want to get big runs in this defense, you spread them out and run the ball. They're going with 2 tight ends. Lonnie Johnson goes in motion. Tony Gonzalez is on the line of scrimmage. They're pounding the ball. Too many men in the box. Oakland has 8 men in the box. Spread that defense out if you want a big run.
Chiefs need first downs. This is still very much a ball game. Play action. Gerback forced out of the pocket. Floats one in the air. A dangerous pass, and it's incomplete. Lance Johnstone applied the pressure. Gerback on the run. And the Chiefs face a 4th down.
This is a dangerous play. They fake the ball right to Donnell Bennett. Elvis Gerback wants to roll out to the left in an open boot. He can't because of the pass pressure by Lance Johnstone. No one blocks him. No one blocks Eric Martin. There are 2 guys out there. He's got to try to make a play to the other side of the field. He can't get there. Good pursuit by the Oakland defense.
Daniel Pope had a punt blocked earlier today. Almost had a second one blocked. Ralph Tam will snap it. Pope lays into it. Darian Gordon, fair catch signal, brings it in at the 10, and that's where the Raiders will have it, trailing Kansas City by 3. Look at the game summary and the numbers. Kansas City has racked up some major yardage with 384 total yards. 2 touchdown returns, 1 on a punt return, another on an interception return. Raiders got 1 back on a block punt, and Kenny Shedd took it the distance for the score. Gannon and Gerback both got off to slow starts. Former teammates, friends. They've both picked up their games, and now it rests on the right shoulder, not of Elvis Gerback, but of Rich Gannon, the former Chief. 5:10 left to play in the 4th. Handoff. Kaufman running into the line, and he picked up 2. Chester McLaughlin the tackle.
Chester McLaughlin is a load in the middle. It usually takes 2 offensive linemen to block him, but he does an outstanding job of holding up 2, allowing those linebackers and Donnie Edwards and Marcus Patton to make the tackles. But McLaughlin's had an outstanding year. Not a lot of sacks, only 2, but he had 53 quarterback pressures coming into the game, and he has another 2 today.
That was Tyrone Wheatley on the carry. 14th carry, 86 yards. Gannon wants to throw it. Steps up, under a rush, and complete. Ricky Dudley, the tight end, for a huge gainer. Out across the 40-yard line. His first catch of the day, and it's good for 30 yards. And it quiets this Kansas City crowd.
That's the first time that Rich Gannon's thrown towards Ricky Dudley. He just goes right across the field to play. He's covered by Donnie Edwards. He's not big or strong enough to go by him, but Dudley at 6'6", 255 pounds, fights through the pressure, goes across the field. Rich Gannon dumps it off to him, and he picks up huge yardage on the play.
What a tough game to figure out. Once you think one team is done, they come up with a big gainer. Wheatley struggling forward as he picks up a yard. Tom Bart with the stop. Clock is moving. 4:15 and counting left in the fourth. The Oakland Raiders with a record of 7-8 this season. Last year they were winning the close games. This year, not the case.
That just shows a sign of a good football team that knows how to finish. When you're in close battles, you finish off your opponent. The Raiders haven't been able to do that this season.
2nd and 9 from the 43. Gannon will put it in the air. Or will he? Gannon is sacked. Back at the 36, Leslie O'Neal.
And I am with that sack. Old Leslie O'Neal goes by LT. Lawrence Taylor right there at the end. It's Leslie O'Neal at the end. He just pinches inside. It's a palm stunt. Both end and tackle goes inside. McLaughlin outside brings him down with a one-hand lasso. And Leslie O'Neal picks up his 133rd sack of his career.
Now in 6th place in NFL history. 3rd and 15. Huge play for this Kansas City defense. Gannon stepping up. Pump fake throwing into double coverage. It's incomplete. Tim Brown, the intended receiver. Dishman had the coverage. And Oakland will punt with 3:19 remaining.
Fantastic job of coverage, but a great play by Reggie Tongue. They're not going to let Tim Brown one-on-one all by himself, but Chris Dishman is right there fighting him to the end, but breaking on the ball. At the end of the play is Reggie Tongue knocking it away, tipping it right there along with Dishman. They're not going to let Tim Brown run free. Fighting him down the field of play is Chris Dishman. That's a good fight on Chris Dishman's behalf.
Aragu standing at his own 22. Low snap, handles it. Vanover. From the 18, a fair catch signal. He had all kinds of room in front of him. And he didn't recognize it. He went the conservative route on the 45-yard punt, and he knows it. First and 10 at the 18. Donnell Bennett running into a crowd, and he gets to the 20. Eric Barton, first man there as he picks up 2. Want to go to the games? You can be there. Playoff tickets are available online through NFL.com. And Kansas City has taken a timeout. Oakland takes the timeout with 3:01 left in the fourth.
I remember when I played in the NFL, it would always come down to Washington, Dallas, Washington Giants. At the end of the year, packed stadium, you knew you had to win the game. The pressure was on your shoulders. Hey, if you want to win it, go out and take it, and that's what the Chiefs are on to do. 11 straight losses for Oakland in Arrowhead. Kansas City having a tough time getting yardage. Bennett met by Barton. 2:57 left in the fourth. And the Raiders use another timeout with just 1 remaining. John Gruden, second year as the head coach of the Raiders. And he knows how much this game means, not only to this team, but to the owner. Al Davis. Beating the Chiefs have been a tall order. They've lost 18 of 20, 5 straight, 11 in a row at Arrowhead. They didn't win a game at Arrowhead in the 90s. That's all you have to know. And that's got to be frustrating for Al Davis and the Oakland Raiders. When you sit back and think about it, the entire 90s not winning a game in the stadium when you play them each and every year, you've got to find a way to combat that. And when we talked to John Gruden, he told us point blank, for us to do something in the AFC West, we've got to find a way to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. When I played for the Washington Redskins, when we were good, we could beat everybody. But when we were bad, we had to find a way to beat the good teams. We had to find a way to beat the Giants. Once we could beat the Giants, we could get to the playoffs.
Here's a pivotal 3rd down, 3rd and 8. Gerback. Flushed out. On the run. Throwing out of bounds. The Oakland Raiders defense has done what John Gruden asked them to do. And now Kansas City will be forced to punt it away.
And when you look at the running game of the Kansas City Chiefs, they've done an outstanding job during the day. But the last 2 series, they've gotten very conservative running it between the tackles when there were 8 men in the box. You're not going to pick up a lot of yardage in that situation.
Daniel Pope, a high punt. Gordon, fair catch at the 38. Raiders again have good field position, trailing by only 3. But one thing that has been a problem for John Gruden and company, the kicking game, pressure kicks, and losing close games. A field goal here, a field goal there, and maybe it's the Raiders playing for a division title here today.
Absolutely. When we talked to John Gruden, he said the 2 keys that have hurt us this year, 1 turnovers and 2 our kicking game. So look for the Oakland Raiders to have new kickers on this roster next year.
Spot the football just shy of the 40. 2:46 on the game clock. We're in the 4th. Kansas City 38, Oakland 35. Gannon underneath to John Ritchie, barreling forward, shy of a first down. Had to get to the 50. He picked up 8. Patton and Thomas combining to make that stop. And the clock is moving with 2:30 and counting. Raiders still have 1 timeout left and the 2-minute warning.
All they have to do is get this ball in field goal position to tie this up. Rich Gannon has done an excellent job all day long, looking off down the field to play to his wide receivers and dumping the ball off to his running backs. John Ritchie's had a big day for the Oakland Raiders.
Chiefs fans getting vocal on a 2nd and 2. On the flip, it's Ritchie again. New set of downs for Oakland to work with as he's forced out of bounds at the 45. Derek Thomas forced him to the sideline. 2-minute warning. Kansas City holding on for dear life. Playoff life at stake as well. For the Kansas City Chiefs, the regular season has come down to the final 2 minutes. 38-35. Chiefs in front. Gunther Cunningham's club with a chance to finish off the year 10-6. Champions of the AFC West. Don't forget the second half of the doubleheader is coming up with these matchups. Miami, Washington, San Diego, Denver, Tennessee, Pittsburgh. 1st and 10 for Oakland at the KC 45. Double tight end set. Gannon. Wheatley couldn't catch it. Incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, you talk about hungry dogs after fresh meat. Derek Thomas and Leslie O'Neal got such a start on the snap count. As soon as the ball was snapped, they were by the protectors of the Oakland Raiders and on Rich Gannon's back. He did a great job of just getting rid of the football, but the pressure that's put on by these two the entire afternoon. Leslie O'Neal in his 14th season, Derek Thomas in his 11th, both in the top 10 in all-time sacks in NFL history.
2nd and 10. 3 receiver alignment. Gannon will throw it on the slant. Tim Brown. And a fight breaks out following. Flags come down. Looked like a pickup of 9 or 10 yards. It appears as if Brown, after making the catch, just threw the football in the air, and Kansas City defensive players thought, hey, there's a loose football. Ron George scooped it up, thinking it was a fumble.
Ryan, that's a situation where the officiating crew has to step in. If it's a reception and he's down, blow the whistle, mark it dead so guys don't injure one another. Now a personal foul penalty is called against Oakland. And that is a big call against this team. They're moving the ball offensively.
You know emotions run high in these Raider-Chiefs games, but have to keep your cool here.
Unnecessary roughness on the offense, number 73, 15 yards. We'll repeat, 2nd down.
And that's Darrell Ashmore, who's a backup, who's only in this game because of a calf injury to Lincoln Kennedy. The starting right tackle who has played every game of his career. He's never sat out with an injury until today. Gruden disgusted. Look at that facial expression. Second half of the doubleheader is coming up. Miami, Washington, San Diego, Denver, Tennessee, Pittsburgh. And John Gruden is irate. Just seems that something happens to this team late in games where they just can't pull out close victories.
And I think he's saying exactly what I said. If he was down, how come the whistle wasn't blowing to stop the play? The ball's flying around. His guys are going for it. They get in a fight after the play, and it costs his team. That pass was close to being incomplete. Nice slant pattern by Tim Brown. Comes across formation. He has the ball.
Now watch, the ball just comes out of here.
And the play should be over. If he caught the ball, the play's over. And he caught the ball.
The officials were late on that play. You get another angle of it. And there it is. It wasn't Brown that threw it out of there. It was the defender, James Hasty. So the question becomes, is this a catch or not? To me, that's a catch.
That's a catch to me also. And if that's a catch and he's down, the play should be whistled dead. It's over. The penalty at the end is probably what John Gruden is most frustrated about because it just cost his team big-time field position.
That's a 9-yard catch, which then turns into a 15-yard penalty on the personal foul. It was James Hasty that ripped the ball free and threw it out of there.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. It was a completed catch.
Obviously, the coaching staffs were not questioning that because under 2 minutes to play, it's the officials that look at the replays, but that's not what Gruden wanted to hear. He wanted to hear that it's a completed pass and the penalty should be waived off because it took place afterwards.
Absolutely. And going back to what you stated before, whenever it's a critical point of a ball game for the Oakland Raiders, they found a way to shoot themselves in the foot this year. They can't win the close games. They've missed field goals when they should have won games. They've been right there at the wire. They haven't been able to convert at the end of the game.
The officials still huddling up.
Come on now.
Oakland was ready to go to the line of scrimmage. It is 2nd and 16 for Oakland. Back in their own territory at the 49. 3 receivers set. Gannett throwing. Zach Crockett releasing out of the backfield, and he's twirled out at the 42-yard line by Chris Dishman. Second half of the doubleheader is coming up. Miami at Washington. Others will see San Diego at Denver and Tennessee at Pittsburgh. That was a gain of 8. Bringing up 3rd and 8. Obviously 4-down territory now with everything on the line.
And does Kirk Schottenheimer's defense stand pat, or do they attack the passer? He's had a lot of success this afternoon of blitzing and getting towards Rich Gannon.
Here's Gannon. Throws it upstairs. Incomplete. Tim Brown had it. Matched up with Hasty. 4th down, Oakland.
One-on-one on the outside. He's pressing, so what do? You run the fade. Tim Brown does a great job of getting to the outside. Uses the arm rips him to the side, but James Hasty uses his body, turns around, gets a finger on the ball, but Tim Brown has a chance to catch that football. No bigger play in this game than that one right there. Huge play for the Kansas City defense.
It comes down to this. On 4th down, Gannett, the former Chief, play clock, ran out. Chiefs fans think that the game is over, but the play was whistled dead. They ran out of time on the play clock.
Delay on the offense, 5 yards, still 4th down.
Another mistake late.
And that's what's been the Achilles heel of this Oakland Raiders football team and almost this franchise out of the entire decade of the 90s. They haven't found a way to beat an opponent when it counts. But here's the situation. You've got to get the ball inside the 35-yard line. That's all there is to it. You cannot run a short route. You can't dump it out and hope for a long run. You've got to make sure you get the ball inside the 35 so at least you get a first down.
4th and 13. Former Chief Gannett stepping up, throwing. Tim Brown is open. 1st down, Oakland. Inside the 30-yard line. They got 20 yards. What a big-time throw by Rich Gannett.
And the reason why the play is successful, Eric Warfield had Tim Brown one-on-one. He slipped on the play when Tim Brown made his plant to make the cut at the end of the route. He slipped and fell. Tim Brown was wide open.
Coming up on 1 minute to play in the fourth in a 3-point game. Gannon deflected. Incomplete. McLaughlin got a piece.
Take another look at the play previous to this where Tim Brown was one-on-one. He made his move. It's to the outside. Eric Warfield, number 44, will be on the ground. He slips on his coverage, but luckily enough, there's a safety that comes over, Jerome Woods, and helps him on the play and downs Tim Brown, but he trips right there and slips. At the end of the play, it's Reggie Tongue that downs Tim Brown. Big play by Tim Brown of staying with his route and Rich Gannon reading the route well.
If Kansas City had stopped them there, the Chiefs would be in the playoffs right now. Now it's a 2nd and 10 for Oakland. Gannon on the floater for Ritchie. Able to get out of bounds at the 21-yard line. He picked up 6. And the clock stops with 55 seconds to play. His 8th catch of the day, and they are certainly now moving within field goal range for Joe Nedney. As you see scores around the NFL. 55 seconds left, a 3rd and 3. 3 receiver set, going for it all, and nobody home. Incomplete with 50 seconds left on the clock. And 4th down. Oakland will go for the tie.
I'm Gunther Cunningham. I make Mr. Nedney think about this kick. Long and hard, if he could. Here's a situation. It's the biggest kick of his career for the Oakland Raiders.
38-yard field goal attempt. The snapper is Adam True. The holder, Leo Arrogance. For the tie, Nedney, 38 yards away. He's got it. 38-38. And over deep to receive it. From the 7. Vanover. Trying to emerge through a hole. He cannot. And he's brought down at the 30-yard line by Johnny Harris. 22-yard return. Up to the minute, AFC playoff. Now Kansas City looking for that final spot. Gerback makes the connection to Tony Richardson. Keeps the leg moving inside. And he's brought down at the field goal range. This is a 4-receiver set. 30 seconds to play. Gerback, sideline throw. Brought in by Rison. Out of bounds. In Oakland territory. At the 49-yard line. That's good for 8 yards, and it stops the clock.
When you need a big play in your offense, particularly in the passing offense, you go to your KG Vic, and he's going to do a smart thing. Get out of bounds when he gets the football.
On 2nd and 2 in a tie ball game. Underneath the coverage, Joe Horn struggling to get to the sideline. He does have a 1st down at the 43. Down from the 43. Gerback. Tony Gonzalez. They are inching the ball closer and closer to Stoyanovic's range. 5 yards. Basically the same play, different receiver. And just 4 ticks of the clock came off. 15 seconds left in the 4th.
And the Raiders are playing soft on the line of scrimmage. They're letting the wide receivers release off the line of scrimmage. They need to get close and fight them. Otherwise, Kansas City's going to continue to run the outs. But this is what I would do. I would spread them out, run a crossing pattern across the middle of the field. The middle of the field should be open. There's your big play. Get your field goal attempt.
On 2nd down, Gerback in the pocket. Throw. Low throw. Horn claims he's got it. Time is winding down. 6 seconds. 5 seconds. Well, they put time back on the clock. There was confusion.
30 seconds. Timeout.
Chiefs were trying to determine whether or not that was a catch. The officials claim that it was at the 29-yard line. That took a bounce.
That did. That hit the ground.
That's going to be overturned.
He did not field this cleanly. Right between his arms.
Charles Woodson with the coverage. If the play stands, it's a 46 or 47-yard field goal. But I think these officials are going to take another look at it. Raiders will use their final timeout. And the officials on the field will huddle up. And at least at first glance, this does not appear to be a catch for Joe Horn.
No, that ball hits the ground. He doesn't have possession.
Keep in mind, under 2 minutes left in the game. Coaches are out of the review process. It's all up to the officials.
And Charles Woodson is lucky on the play. He didn't get called a pass interference. He was all over Joe Horn on that play.
But time continued to come off the clock.
They need to reset the clock at least 4 to 5 seconds. They didn't make a decision on the play. Time ran off the clock.
And I think that's what Gunther Cunningham is talking to one of the officials about on the near sideline. If it stands, it's about a 47-yard field goal. If not, you're looking more at a 56, 57-yard attempt. And Pete Stoyanovich, his career long is 59. His season long is 51. And the 59-yard field goal he kicked back in 1989. So this play is under review. We've seen a little bit of everything here today.
When he kicked it in the last century?
Yeah, basically.
But what a big play. I mean, it comes down to the AFC.
After reviewing the play, the ball hit the ground, the pass is incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 5 from the 38-yard line.
And now, and the pass is incomplete. Are they going to put more time on the clock?
They are not. 6 seconds left. Each team with a timeout remaining. Do they have enough time to run one play, try to get a quick hitter to the sideline? And now Gruden wants to use a timeout, huddle up with his defense and make sure everybody's on the same page.
It's crucial. Those 4 or 5 seconds that went off the clock, that's key to this play. With 10 or 11 seconds, they had enough time to run a play, throw it or run it, and call a timeout. Now in this situation, the officials need to do what's right.
8 seconds. 8 seconds.
They didn't get the 4 or 5 seconds. They got 2.
But that should be plenty. That should be plenty enough time to run a play.
8 seconds. Thank you.
8 or 10 yards and give yourself a chance.
3rd down, 8 seconds to play. Kansas City looking for quick yardage, and they get it with Joe Horn. Out of bounds at the 27-yard line. Exactly what they needed. And now they give their kicker, Pete Stoyanovich, an opportunity.
And Elvis Gerbeck operates this offense. But Charles Woodson, look how far he's playing off of Joe Horn. He should realize it's his 2nd year in the league. He's not a rookie anymore. You can't give that much cushion in this type of situation. They're not going to run the touchdown. They're going to run the 1st down.
Pete Stoyanovich. They'll have to think about it because Oakland has used a timeout. You see Stoyanovich's numbers and his resume.
If you look up, you look at the uprights. Don't look at anything else. Concentrate, focus.
A playoff spot at stake. The division championship on the line. Pete Stoyanovich, 45-yard field goal attempt. Stoyanovich, kick is up. No good. We are headed to overtime to get into the playoffs.
All right, men, we're going to play a 15-minute overtime period. Each team gets 2 timeouts. First team who scores wins. Oakland, you're the visitor. Who's going to call it? What is your choice? He called tails. It is the tails. Oakland won the toss.
Hold on. Ian Eagle and Mark May with you from Kansas City, where the Chiefs and Raiders are tied at 38 as we start overtime. Early on in this game, Mark, it seemed as if Kansas City was going to cruise in for Gunther Cunningham and get that playoff spot. But John Gruden's team has battled back. When they've needed a play, they've gotten a play. And you know Gruden is really enjoying this one, knowing full well that he can spoil Kansas City's bid for a playoff spot. John Baker to kick it off. bounds, third time today. And this one as costly.
Kickoff out of bounds. Ball will be placed 30 yards from the spot of the kick. First down at the 40.
That is unbelievable. The third time in this game. I said it after the second time. Put Pete Stoyanovich out there. He will not kick it deep, but he will keep it in the field. Keep it on the field to play. You give the opponent beautiful field position.
That young man has a lot to think about right now, putting his team's defense in a very tough spot. Wheatley getting the carry. And nowhere to go as he's shoved backwards by Donnie Edwards. It's a loss on the play of 1. Line of scrimmage was the 40. The third time today that John Baker has kicked the ball out of bounds. Former CFL kicker getting an opportunity as a kickoff specialist.
Donnie Edwards just runs right through unscathed. Both of these linebackers have done an outstanding job all afternoon filling the gap, finding that void and getting penetration into the backfield.
2nd and 11. Play action. Gannon. Wheatley couldn't catch it. Incomplete. He had some room to run in front of it.
The Kansas City defense is lucky. The entire afternoon they've had a tough time covering the running backs out of the backfield. Big plays by every running back. Tyrone Wheatley, Napoleon Kaufman, John Ritchie. Rich Gannon just looks down the field to play, drops it off to his running back. They've made big plays all afternoon long. They've got to keep their linebackers on the running back out of the backfield or they may give up another big play.
3rd and 11. Ritchie and Crockett in the backfield, 2 fullbacks. Gannon stepping up, throwing, finds Dudley for the first down into Kansas City territory and out of bounds right around the 42. 19 yards and Gannon burning his former team once again.
And I am both backs, Crockett and John Ritchie, do an outstanding job of picking up the blitz, protecting Rich Gannon, giving him a chance to operate, step up in the pocket, throw the ball downfield, have good vision. If you're going to blitz the quarterback, you have to make sure someone gets a hand on him. But the offensive line stood up, the running backs picked up the blitz. That's why Rich Gannon was able to complete the pass.
Gannon, 300 yards throwing here today. Trying to go inside with Tyrone Wheatley and no gain on the play as he was met by Eric Hicks. And now it's Oakland looking at field position and trying to get as much yardage as possible to create a scenario where Joe Nedney can win this game on the first possession of overtime.
And Gunther Cunningham has ridden the back of his defense the entire season long. They've led this football team. They need to come up with a big play for Kansas City to win it, but the Oakland offense, with backup offensive linemen, have done an outstanding job of 1, running the football, and 2, protecting quarterback Rich Gannon.
Derek Thomas.
Only 3 tackles, but pressure on the quarterback, disrupting some pass plays, and covering backs down the field of play.
On a 2nd and 10. Gannon wants to throw it. Complete. Tim Brown staying on his feet and forced out of bounds at the 16-yard line. The Oakland Raiders on the move, a 23-yard completion. Gunther Cunningham's team could not come through with a pressure kick. And now the Raiders will have a chance to put this one away.
And a big play by Tim Brown, just a crossing pattern, gets behind the underneath zone, makes a big play. You've got to put somebody on Tim Brown. If you let him run free from the line of scrimmage, he will make a big play. You've got to get up there and fight him to make sure he's got to earn everything he gets.
Crockett in the backfield, gets the call, trying to spin off a tackler. He cannot. Right back to the line of scrimmage. Eric Hicks the stop. And you know, Mark, you can't say that the Chiefs didn't have their opportunities in this game. They could have made a stop earlier in the 4th quarter on a 4th down that would have ended it. They have a chance at the end, a kick from Pete Stoyanovich, 45 yards away to win it. But now it's the Oakland Raiders that have it in front of them.
And I am right here. The first thing you want to do, protect the football. Don't worry about getting yardage. If you're running the football, protect it, because the Kansas City Chiefs defense, the first thing they're going to do is try to strip the running back of the football. Hold him up and strip him.
Running it into the line again, playing conservative, and why not? Zach Crockett getting the call. And they are going to go for the field goal right now.
And I think this is a smart play by John Gruden. If it's a bad snap, he's just going to tell his holder, fall on the football. Don't take a chance. We still have another down to kick it. Let's be patient with it. Let's do it right.
A 33-yard attempt that would put Seattle in the playoffs. Joe Nedney. For the win in overtime. From 33 yards away, Nedney straight through. And the Raiders have done the unexpected. They have spoiled the Kansas City Chiefs party. Seattle is going to the playoffs as the AFC West champions. And the Kansas City Chiefs, with destiny in their own hands, unable to get it done. Throughout the 90s, the Raiders just couldn't beat the Chiefs. Well, these aren't the 90s anymore, Al Davis. Probably as satisfied as he has been in years, because the Raiders have not been part of playoff competition in quite some time. They haven't had a winning season since 1994. Haven't been to the postseason since 1993. No, they didn't get there this year. Well, they can take solace in the fact that they have ruined the Kansas City Chiefs season at the end. KC will have to settle with a 9-7 finish, second place in the AFC West. And Gunther Cunningham, in his first year as a head coach in the NFL, denied of a playoff appearance. Joe Nedney kicks the Chiefs out of the postseason. It's all set in the AFC. Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Tennessee, Buffalo, Miami, and Seattle. Oakland does it. They come into Kansas City and win in overtime. 41-38, the final score for Mark May, our entire CBS crew. This is Ian Eagle. Have a good one.